1 year ago today, Shohei Ohtani stepped to the mound for the first time in nearly 2 years. Expectations were sky high.
30 pitches. His first outing since September of 2018, and certainly not the way you wanted it to go for Shohei Ohtani.
After a forgettable 2 starts in 2020, there were more questions than answers heading into 2021. Baseball's two-way superstar has emphatically answered them all.
He got him swinging. Wow. Threw him a nasty slider that was about 3 feet off the plate.
Ohtani, right field. A laser and it's gone. 35. In just 365 days, Shohei Ohtani has not only changed the trajectory of his career, but has become the biggest star in baseball. 1 year after the 2020 debut, Ohtani toes the rubber tonight. What a difference a year makes.
Showtime from the Big Gay, and welcome to Angels Live, presented by your Southern California Cadillac dealers right here on Valley Sports. Yeah, Showtime is on the hill as the Hails kick off a 7-game homestand. It all starts tonight against the Rockies. Here's one tap over the next 30 as Ohtani gets his warm-up tosses in. Of course, Shohei on the hill and batting second here tonight. A huge series before the trade deadline on Friday, and Gooby's going to talk with Joe Madden, the latest edition of the Joe Madden Show. That and much more happens right here, right now on Angels Live. Welcome to the big show, everybody. Ken French, and that is Mark Gubaza. How are you?
It's always fun when it's showtime, isn't it? On the mound and at the bat.
I couldn't figure out what day of the week it was because there's so many people heading into the Big A. Of course, Shohei Ohtani has to be on the hill, and of course, batting second here tonight for Joe Madden. But, you know, I got to start listening to these teases more often. I wasn't aware 1 year ago today made his debut for the Halos.
Yeah, but, you know, we move forward on that one. Yes, as quickly as possible. Shohei Ohtani, what he's doing on the mound and at the plate this year has been phenomenal. It was a great series, especially his last couple games up in Minnesota, swinging the bat. What he's done his last 2 starts have been off the charts, but Shohei Ohtani really has been dealing. You're talking about going against the Boston Red Sox, going against the Oakland Athletics, 2 teams right now in the postseason, going 13 innings pitched, just 1 walk, 12 strikeouts, a whip of 0.69. That means walks per hits per innings pitched. It's less than 1 per inning. So he's been dealing. He's been creative on the mound. He's been able to throw his slider. He's been able to throw his cutter. Splitter's been great. Fastball command much better. And an occasional curveball. I just love the fact that he's to go out and use whatever pitch he wants to get going during the course of a game, and even creative as the game progresses. 4-1 with a very good ERA. He's been dominant, well under 2 at home this season, 3-0 mark. So Shohei Ohtani on a place where he's always pitched very, very well.
What's been most impressive to me, we just showed how good he's been in those last 2 starts, but this is coming after on June 30th. He couldn't get out of the first inning in New York. This is a guy that's got so many eyes, so much pressure on him that he's able to make those adjustments and make them quickly, whether he's struggling on the mound or at the plate. He's going to turn that around.
I've really never seen anybody quite like that, Frenchie. I mean, if you don't have your slider working, or you don't have your fastball, your 2-seamer, a 4-seamer, a cutter, or splitter working, he's creative during the course of the game. He can dominate with 2 pitches. When he has all 4 or 5 working, it's no chance as a hitter at the plate.
For more on Shohei, we go down and bring in our own Showtime and Jose Mota. And Jose, good to see you once again. And it's amazing. Shohei Ohtani, we don't want him ever to have a day off, but it's truly amazing what a day off can do, even for a superstar like Showtime.
Oh, it's marvelous. I mean, this baseball season, it's a grind. And let's please keep in mind that in Japan, there's more off days scheduled for the teams, and they go out there and manage his workload the way they needed to. But there's a different monster now. Remember, when he first came to the States, even up to last season, had he been healthy pitching, well, he's going to have automatic 3 days off a week. That was great. But we want to see this version right here. Since that off day, mental grind, mental clearance, mindset, 4 for 7. He's got a couple of doubles, but watch how nicely and simply he's getting to the baseball on a straight line. And talking to Jeremy Reed, the hitting coach, he says, you know what? Shohei knows how much he needs to work, and sometimes when to push, when to pull back a little bit. And I think overall, just the fact that he's got to balance that out, Frenchie, with pitching It's amazing. As Gooby said, we have never seen anybody like this guy perform at this level for this long as he has here in 2021.
And Jose, so often we talk about timing as a hitter. So you're saying right now, on what we saw the last couple of games, that timing is back as far as getting through the baseball, whether it's a fastball or a secondary pitch.
Gooby, we know one thing. The Seattle Mariners pounded fastball on Shohei Ohtani, and even though it might have looked like he was on him, he was late. I mean, he even admitted that, and Jeremy Reed even said that. But it's all about timing. It's so much, you know, we talk about timing with Mike Trout, for example. It's about Mike Trout always saying, I got to get my foot down because his hands go back on time. For Shohei, it's, remember that cocking of the front knee needs to be also on time, so his hands go back, which actually, as a hitter, he's got the blessing that he doesn't have to go back all that much because he starts back here. But Gooby, being on time allows him to remember what happened before this nice stretch in the All-Star game. He was walking more. It's not just applying that into your hitting and making contact, it's into taking pitches and perhaps getting yourself into better counts by tracking the ball much better.
Yeah, and very impressive, too, when you look at what he did on Sunday. 10th career time, he's had a homer and a stolen base in the same game. Jose joining some company like Ersty, Trouty, Vlad Guerrero Sr. It's truly amazing. When you just call him a complete player, I guess you could say.
Yes, I mean, so unique to see the way he's able to put things in their different compartments. So his workload about pitching, he knows how to take care of that. His workload about hitting, same thing. And you talk about base running and stealing bases. I mean, Shohei has become one of the premier base runners, not just base runners in the game with his instincts. And when it comes down to stealing bases, Joe Mann has told me if it was up to Shohei, he'd have a green light every single time out. He's still first. I mean, he'll still second and third. Gooby, maybe he can steal first, too. Who knows?
I mean, already
he is. And who knows what he'd do if, you know, the pitcher doesn't pay attention with him at third base.
I mean, it's amazing. So already career high in stolen bases, home runs, walks. That's on the offensive side. And then on the pitching side already, innings and strikeouts. What he's doing so far this year, we still have a lot of baseball left.
Jose,
yes,
yeah.
Very important, too. The workload will be managed differently here in the second half because we know very well you got to go out there and keep him as fresh as possible. Example today. Push him one more day back just to make sure that everything's in time and his mind is clear to go out there and perform at the highest level.
Although Joe Madden did say he looks a little frisky after last game. So who knows? He said he's ready to go. He's running well. Jose, we really appreciate
that sounds like Frenchie. Yes.
Frisky Frenchie.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe right now. Look, I can go with that.
Is that a new hat for you there, Frenchie's friend?
I got to go. Jose,
yes,
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Listen, you know what? So with a guy like Mike Trout, as we shift gears, with him being out of the lineup, you see guys like Juan Lagares, of course, Brandon Marsh getting some reps in the outfield, getting an opportunity with Rendon being out with a hamstring injury. We're starting to know Jack.
Yes. No, yes. We know Jack.
Both of us didn't know Jack for a while, but now we know Jack.
Now he's the Captain Jack, the way he's been doing, swinging the bat, playing outstanding defense. And Joe Madden has said all along that he really loves that glove at third base. But now we're seeing some pretty good timing with his bat, too. 4 for 13 in the series up in Minnesota. 2 home run hits. I mean, he hit these baseballs on the line. 3 home runs already this season, 2 in that series. He also hit a double. He drove in 5 runs. 4 for 13. That's a .308 batting average for Jack Mayfield, but his defense was absolutely incredible. He turned 2 double plays, outstanding defense throughout. He even redirected coming in on the bare hand. He's showing as a shortstop he can make that play, but at third base he was off the charts as far as his reaction at the hot corner.
Yeah, he started 10 of the last 11 games for the Angels, so he's finding that consistency, getting himself in a groove. He's hit safely in 6 of his last 7. And as I mentioned, as long as Rendon's going to be out of the lineup, Mayfield seems like he is the guy, because Joe Madden wanted the best defensive player at third he could find, and right now that was Mayfield, and he's also getting it done at the plate, as we just saw.
Yeah, Frenchie, he's saving runs at third base defensively. Even today, walking by him today, he's going out to take some batting practice, even behind the cages there, too. You can see the confidence he has right now because he's getting the opportunity to play, and he's hitting the ball well. He's hitting the ball. That double to right center field was really important. We know he could turn on a fastball, hit those 2 out in left field at target field, but hitting that double to right center field and being comfortable in the batter's box, that's what you want to see.
Let's take a look at the lineup that Joe Madden's going to put out on the field. Of course, yeah, he is Jack Mayfield starting at third base. Upton's going to be there in the 3rd spot, but Brandon Marsh, as I mentioned, getting an opportunity in center field. 6 hits his first 7 games as a major leaguer. What do you like about Marshy so far?
His idea of of the strike zone has been phenomenal, and he should have more hits than he's had so far this year. He's hit the ball right on the money, and some good plays out in left field against him, but showing that speed, scoring from second base. His speed is phenomenal. His eye at the plate is great. His defense already is saving runs out there, and his arm is excellent too, so I love him in there. Iglesias today, watch out against Marquez, who throws a lot of break balls. He should have a big game today.
Mad Max, first career triple yesterday, a double shy of the cycle, getting it done, and he is once again behind the dish. If you take a first time out here on the program, Kubi, don't go anywhere.
Never.
We are counting down, of course, till Shohei takes the mound. Everyone's getting their cell phones out. Of course, we got 2 minor leaguers to honor. Rich Walsh is going to join us on a critical homestand right here at the Big A.
Hey, Al, I'm just wondering, during the demo on MLB Tonight, what was that meatball you threw?
Meatball? I think you're misunderstanding. That was a hitting demonstration, and that's what I was supposed to do.
Oh, he got home, baby.
Right. I think that ball's still traveling. Any farther, and you need a flight plan for it.
Next question.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions, only on MLB Network.
Angels Live on Valley Sports. Angels baseball presented by your Southern California Cadillac dealers. Fans filing in to see Game 1 of the 3-game interleague series between the Halos and the Rockies tonight here at the Big Gag. And shift gears from Roman Kubi. Got some good stuff going down in the minor leagues. Reed Detmers, he was picked 10th overall last year. All he's done is just make his debut in AAA. 6 shutout innings, 9 strikeouts on Saturday. And Hector Yan, High A West pitcher of the week.
Yeah, I mean, when you go back to Detmers now, when you look even what he did in AA, 97 strikeouts in 54 innings pitched. He's carried that in there. He was in the Futures game, threw the ball well. Yan in the Futures game too. So both these outstanding arms are getting better and better. And you're going to see potentially Reed Detmers before you know it. He has the ability right now to pitch and be successful at the major league level.
Yeah, big reason the Halos went out and got 19 of their 20 picks in the draft were college pitchers. And of course, Reed Detmers, one of those who, as you mentioned, hopefully going to be up with the club very, very soon. I alluded to it before the break. We got a big week coming up because the trade deadline is on Friday, Gooby. So with that being said, when you look at this series against the Rockies in particular, Angels need to make some moves to decide if we're buyers or sellers.
Yeah, you got to go out and play outstanding baseball. The Rockies are not real good on the road. They're much, much better when they're at home. So you got to put together some really good stretch here. You had some good games up there in Minnesota. You win 3 out of 4. You have to win a series here against Colorado before Oakland comes into town. So some tough decisions for Perry Manassian. What does he do? To be sellers or buyers? Right now, this team wants to go out there and perform and say, listen, we want to add on instead of subtract. And that all comes down to starting here tonight with Shohei on the mound.
Yeah, Rockies, Rangers, and on the other side you have the A's and Dodgers, as you alluded to. So certainly going to be tough sledding here to see what they can do. Arms obviously at a premium. Not sure exactly what's out there on the market itself. A lot of rumors flying around as we take a look at the schedule here, and you got to win the games that are winnable games. And you mentioned the Rockies and Texas. These are 2 teams you got to take advantage of.
And the Angels have played exceptional baseball against the teams they're supposed to be able to at least compete and beat. And then you got to go out there and try to perform. They've played better against Oakland at home, a 4-game series at home. That's going to help. They had a tough time up in Oakland. And then going against the Dodgers, they had a real good series against them earlier this year. And they're always tough at Dodger Stadium. But you know what? If you're playing good ball and you continue to pitch the way this team has, starting pitching-wise, you got a chance to win any one of these games and hopefully have a long winning streak.
All right, Gooby, thanks a lot, because coming up after the break, you're going to have a conversation with Joe Madden, a brand new edition of the Joe Madden Show. Going to talk a little bit about his old buddy, manager Buddy Black, thoughts on Ohtani, and of course, does he know Jack? I think he does.
Triple fake. How the Angels got here with all the moves they made. They have
Meet Justin Upton. He's watching MLB Network.
Again, the lineup got deeper.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
They're deep. They're deep.
Hey, Al, I'm just wondering, during the demo on MLB Tonight, what was that meatball you threw?
Meatball? I think you're misunderstanding. That was a hitting demonstration, and that's what I was supposed to do.
Oh, he gone, baby.
Right. I think that ball's still traveling. Any farther, and you need a flight plan for it.
Next question.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions, only on MLB Network.
Everywhere you go, everything you do, you can always take the game with you. And you can bring your friends.
Wake up for a full day of baseball on MLB Central, featuring an all-star lineup of hosts and a colorful cast of guests all season. The fun never stops on MLB Central. Weekday mornings 10 Eastern, only on MLB Network.
On Shohei Ohtani is welcome back to Angels Live on Bally Sports. Angels Live is brought to you by Wingstop, sauced and tossed classic wings, crispy tenders, juicy boneless wings. Order them all at wingstop.com. Right now it's time to get an update on the team. As we do before every series, it's a new edition of the Joe Madden Show with Mark Gubicza.
Joe, the captain, Jack Mayfield, man, what are you seeing from him? I know you love his glove, but what you're seeing from the bat and this overall play for him.
The flip side of Piano Man, by the way, he is he's not a baby. He's 30 years old and he's been around. And what I'm seeing is, I think what we are seeing right now is a lot of what he's done in the minor leagues. He's getting opportunity. Third base defense has been ridiculously good. He saved 3 or 4 doubles alone against Minnesota. And then how about his at-bats? Two homers, and then that ball to right center yesterday helped a lot. We needed to spread that lead out in the 9th inning. Got a couple jug runs there, but we had a great bunt also, sacrifice bunt for hit kind of a thing. Guys engaged constantly, could play shortstop really well also. Opportunity. He's a young man that's worked really hard to get opportunity. And the way we're set up right now, he's going to get it.
Well, I mean, you've been around, you were in minor league baseball for a long time. You see that confidence he has right now because he's given that opportunity. And you can see a smile on his face. It's just fun to see.
Yeah, he's got that Cheshire grin, like a little bit in the corner here. I really like talking to him. But he's also really well thought out. He's not wide-eyed by any means. He's not just going to accept what I say because I'm saying it to him. He's got thoughts, and I like that a lot. Like I said, he's well-grounded. He's had a really good minor league career also, and I don't think this is not something that's going to just go away, I don't think. What I'm seeing at the plate, I know him and Jeremy have been talking a lot, and they both feel as though they figured something out. So the home runs were well struck in Minnesota, and loved the ball to right central too. So I don't know. I think this is sustainable. I really do.
So you're going to be looking across the dugout here today. The other side, the guy that has connected really well to the Angels throughout the years, Bud Black. How much fun is it going to be go out there competing against him?
Boy, Pepe. Pepe Negro and I, we go back. We were on the first staff here with Soch. I love that. We stay in touch a lot in the offseason also. He'll just drop me a text, and he kind of talks like that. JoJo, very slowly. There's nothing ever quick about Mr. Freeze. So he and I, we stay in touch as much as possible. Love the guy, and that staff that we had here in 2002, that championship staff is as good as any I've ever been on.
By the way, I love the fact you call him Mr. Freeze, too. I said he is the coolest guy I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was Jamie Quirk. Jamie alerted me to all that. We played golf, not with Pepe, but Jamie Quirk and I, we played golf earlier this year in Kansas City. It's another guy. That Kansas City group was outstanding. No wonder why they won.
Yeah. So Shohei Ohtani on the bump today, swinging the bat, got that timing together again. But over the last couple of starts, you're seeing something special about his creativity. You mentioned that creativity even in spring training, what he's been doing on the mound.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's different because, and again, I'll draw the comparison one more time. Him and I've had Yu Darvish, and both, they're both Japanese pitchers. I understand that, but they both have this incredible feel to make things up on the fly. They, the one day that Yu's walking out to the bullpen and he walks by Kyle Hendricks, show me that grip on that changeup, takes it in the game and nails it. The same thing with our guy. He'll ask different pitchers about slider grip or changeup grip. He'll take it right into the game and split. I can't feel it in the bullpen. All of a sudden, he'll break it out in the 6th inning, and it's as good as it's ever been. Feel. He's got a tremendous feel for what he does. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to try something differently. He's very aware. He knows when something's not working, and then he does something else. Not everybody can do that. It's not as easy as it sounds.
I was going to ask you that because, I mean, on the mound a bunch of times, I don't think I ever could do that. All of a sudden, let me just try this during the game and be so effective with it.
It's true. It's true. And like I said, I've seen 2 guys do it. And our guy here, I hate to tell you, but he's going to keep getting better, too, on the mound as he pitches more often. He's had really little experience out there by a number of innings and heated and big situations. He had him in Japan probably more than he's had him here. So you know he's capable of doing it. Just be patient. It's going to keep getting better.
All right, Joe, our favorite segment here. A couple times now we get to do it in person. All right, what song do we listening to today to get ready for this set against Colorado?
I'm going to give you like a brief background. Listen, I always, back in the day, used to use the OAG guide to get your airline flights. And this is even before I was a scout. But when we used to come out west for spring training, they let you make your own reservations. I wanted big jets. I wanted them flying out of New York to L.A. nonstop. L1011 TWA, and on the way out on that little headset, Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. And I've always identified with that song. I always thought I had a little bit of that in me. Not that I was necessarily wayward, but I was always going somewhere, more like a gypsy. But I've always dug that song. Kansas, really a great rock song. I got in contact with those guys once or twice in the past. Love to see them again, but that song always takes me back.
Lay your weary head to rest, Joe.
That's right. That's it.
For the W today.
On my L1011, at that time, they were never crowded. Used to get all 3 seats. I always liked to sit in the back by myself. And then you'd land and you'd get on a Hughes Air West little yellow flight. And that's where I met Dickie Thon for the first time when we landed in Holtville.
By the way, I'm going to be out of my mind. That's one of my all-time favorite songs. I'm in heaven today. I'm in heaven today.
That's it. Great minds.
Yes. Or lack thereof.
Okay. You got it, buddy.
Hey, Joe. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, man.
Carry On, Joe and Gooby. One more time out when we come back. We're going to preview Shohei Ohtani as he gets to take to the hill tonight at the Big A.
Mike Trout. People know he's one of the greatest players this game's ever seen.
Meet Mike Trout.
Can run.
He's watching MLB Network.
He's one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
And he's also got tremendous show hair with his hat off.
Sports, Angels baseball presented by your Southern California Cadillac dealers. As the Halos and Rockies get set for Game 1 of this interleague series, tonight at the Big Gay. And hey, all season long is what I wanted to say. The day after the Angels win, fans can redeem free medium fries with a $1 minimum purchase at participating SoCal McDonald's. Download and register on the McDonald's app today. Some of the best video right there. And, of course, fries and ice cream. Nothing better than that at McDonald's. Welcome back outside the Big A, getting you set for showtime as Shohei Ohtani takes the hill tonight against the Colorado Rockies. Of course, the most exciting player on the hill and at the plate for the Halos, but also on display here tonight. Two of the most exciting beards in all of baseball. Yes, we know Charlie Blackmon has had it over the last decade, holding that distinction. But you know what? Brandon Marsh, he's going to give him a little bit of competition as these two go head-to-head for the very first time. Chuck Nasty against Marshy, two guys who love that chin music as we take a look at the Rockies lineup here this evening. Buddy Black's going to put out onto the field. You see Blackmon batting third. He's only got 6 homers and 47 RBI, hitting .273. He had a career-high 37 homers back in 2017. The All-Star Trevor Story batting fourth. A lot of rumors surrounding him as the trade deadline approaches. And former Halo C.J. Cron is batting fifth. He'll play first. He's hitting .247, 14 homers, and 42 RBI. On the hill, the other All-Star for the Rockies, Marquez, 8-7 with a 3.50 ERA this season. Last start was on July the 20th against Seattle, where he picked up the loss. He went 6 innings, giving up 4 runs on 7 hits. As we get you set for Angels baseball, and of course, the main attraction here tonight is Shohei Ohtani getting ready to take the hill. Once again, he will be batting second here tonight as he just hit his 35th homer yesterday against the Twins. Rich Waltz, Mark Gubiza, Jose Mota will have the call. Angels, Rockies coming up next as showtime is about to begin.
Hey, Pedro. What was it like when you won your first Cy Young Award?
Well,
What about when you won the pitching Triple Crown?
Well,
How did you feel when you won a World Series? Hey, Pedro.
Man, this guy asked a lot of questions.
Hey, Pedro.
He might make a good MLB Network analyst if he lets someone answer a question.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions.
Oh, and what's it like to be an 8-time All-Star?
Well,
and what about getting into the Hall of Fame?
Hey, Al, during tonight's show, what was that meatball you threw?
Meatball? That was a hitting demonstration, and that's what I was supposed to do.
Right.
Next question.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions.
How the Angels got here with all the moves they made. They have
Meet Justin Upton. He's watching MLB Network.
Again, the lineup got deeper.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
They're deep.
the heart of your team. The heart of LA, Valley Sports West. The heart of the fan.
1 year ago today, Shohei Ohtani stepped to the mound for the first time in nearly 2 years. Expectations were sky high.
30 pitches. His first outing since September of 2018, and certainly not the way you wanted it to go for Shohei Ohtani.
After a forgettable 2 starts in 2020, there were more questions than answers heading into 2021. Baseball's two-way superstar has emphatically answered them all.
He got him swinging. Wow. Threw him a nasty slider that was about 3 feet off the plate.
Ohtani, right field. A laser and it's gone. 35. In just 365 days, Shohei Ohtani has not only changed the trajectory of his career, but has become the biggest star in baseball. 1 year after the 2020 debut, Ohtani toes the rubber tonight. What a difference a year makes. He is the best player in the game, the most unique player in all of sports. And he's on the mound, and he's in the lineup tonight as the Angels open up a 3-game series with the Colorado Rockies. Hi, everybody. I'm Rich Waltz, along with Mark Gubaza. Jose Mota will join us shortly. You obviously have to divide it in two. Ohtani on the mound, Ohtani at the plate. With you, we'll start with pitching. Since that Yankees start, which was his only bump in the road this year, he's been dynamite.
Yeah, Rich, last 2 starts out there against 2 really good offenses. Boston Red Sox, Oakland Athletics. He threw the ball exceptionally well, going 13 innings, his 2 earned runs, 1 walk. 12 punch-outs and a whip of 0.69, averaging just a little over 92 pitches over that stretch against 2 really patient ball clubs. So he's around the strike zone with his fastball. He's very creative as the game goes. He could be using a slider at one point, come back with a splitter the next. He could use a cutter, he could use a curveball, and then go back to that 97-mile-an-hour fastball when need be. He's so creative on the mound. Just love the way he's throwing the baseball.
And of course, he could end up in right field before this one is done, because that's what Joe Madden has done in a lot of his starts to keep his bat in the lineup at the end of the game. So that's Ohtani on the mound. How about Ohtani at the plate? Well, at the plate, remember the post-All-Star break slump he had? Well, he's over it, especially in Minnesota. With more on that, here's Jose Mota.
Hey, Rich, there was a time when Shohei Ohtani, the batter, would have 3 scheduled off days per week. We can't live with that anymore, okay? We need Shohei Ohtani in that lineup. But one thing happened, though. The other day, yes, he got a mental and physical off day. Since then, back in Minnesota, 4 for 7, RBI, a couple of doubles. He's back on time with that swing, not trying to overproduce with the power because it comes so naturally against right-handers, left-handers, off-speed, fastballs, and this is setting up pretty much a left-handed pitcher. Spin that ball. There's number 35 traveling. And I know one thing, too, is with that mindset, being on time again in the mound presence, I think we'll continue to enjoy the second half. This version we all love from Shohei Ohtani in 2021.
There is nothing like him in this sport, and I don't think there's anything like him in any sport. The slugger is starting tonight. Shohei Ohtani with his bat in his arm takes aim at the Colorado Rockies. First of 3 from the Big A. Next.
For 25 years,
nice throw.
Major League Baseball and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America
That's beautiful.
have teamed up to guide kids through the first tries.
It's all good, Aaron.
The curveballs.
There you go.
And the big dreams, setting them up to make great plays on and off the field. Celebrating 25 years of building brighter futures together.
Hey, Al, I'm just wondering, during the demo on MLB Tonight, what was that meatball you threw?
Meatball? I think you're misunderstanding. That was a hitting demonstration, and that's what I was supposed to do.
Oh, he gone, baby.
Right. I think that ball's still traveling. Any farther, and you need a flight plan for it.
Next question.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions, only on MLB Network.
Kevin Millar and Stephen Nelson promise to bring you all the fun from around the league.
Pinky promise. And you know, and these can't be broken.
Intentional Talk, only on MLB Network.
How the Angels got here with all the moves they made. They have
Meet Justin Upton. He's watching MLB Network.
Again, the lineup got deeper.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
They're deep. They're deep.
Welcome to the shows, plural. On the mound, Shohei Ohtani, a 1.87 ERA at home. At the plate, man, does he see the ball well. 19 bombs, second in the American League. And both are on display tonight. Welcome to Angels baseball. The Angels and the Rockies ready to go. And Shohei Ohtani will take the ball once again for the 15th time this year. 4-1, a 3.21 ERA. And I loved what Joe Madden said to you. He's one of the most creative pitchers he's ever been around.
Yeah, and the things he can do during the course of a game, an inning, a batter, it's phenomenal. My go-tos for Shohei to have a great one against Colorado here today, a team he has never faced before. We did pick up a W up in Colorado with Denver during the All-Star game. As that lower control to third of the strike zone with his fastball, to be able to hit that spot throughout and back to basics on his splitter. Last time out, found the splitter grip and feel later in the game was devastating. Hopefully get that a little bit quicker, but that lower third with his fastball sets up everything.
And here come the Rockies, Bud Black's Rockies, and Bud Black is back tonight to manage the team. He's been out on COVID protocol. Raimel Tapia has a lot of speed. So does Brendan Rodgers, Charlie Blackmon, you know him. Trevor Story is the center of a lot of trade rumors. C.J. Cron, the former Angel. Sam Hilliard has a ton of speed. He can go gap to gap. It's a very good defensive outfield. Connor Joe, a terrific story, the DH. Joshua Fuentes at third, and Dom Nunez will do the catching. Mike Redmond on the left has been managing the team the last few days. And of course, Angel fans have a soft spot for Bud Black, pitching coach of that World Championship team. He and Joe Madden are such good friends. And away we go. This is Tapia leading it off for the Rockies. Raimel Tapia puts the ball in play a lot, and he puts it in play on the ground. And once he does, he runs like the you-know-what. He has a great speed.
Pretty patient hitter, too, so it's a tough matchup, first batter of the game for Shohei.
And Ohtani has missed twice outside. Yeah, the Yankee Stadium start, a real blip. If you take that out of his numbers, his ERA dips to 2.36 in 14 starts. Rockies were just up the road. Won on Friday, but lost Saturday and Sunday against the Dodgers. And it's not a very good road team. For whatever reason, away from Coors Field, Charlie Blackmon and the Rockies have scuffled.
Yeah, 26 games below 500 on the road as compared to a pretty solid 13 games over 500 at home.
That one dips low. Rob Drake calling balls and strikes. Greg Gibson, Paul Clemens, and Jerry Davis are the umpires here to open this series. Ohtani in 73 innings, 36 walks. So he's averaging about 2.5 walks a start. And Tapia fouls that back to the screen.
And 15 of his walks have been in the first inning. So if he gets through the first inning with control and gets the quick outs, it's on cruise control from that point forward.
The point you made about feel is so important, especially with the differing routines, differing in a hitter's routine and a pitcher's routine, which are completely different in terms of time and in terms of function. But he's somehow able to do both. 3-2.
Got good velocity already in this first inning at 96 mile an hour moving four-seam fastball.
Angels, of course, taking 3 of 4 from the Twins. Really nice win yesterday in the sun in Minnesota with some late runs and a 6-2 win. Going 3-1 in Minnesota, and an opportunity against this Rocky team here over the next 3 nights. Everybody playing Tapia straight up. Got him. Couldn't hold up. That thing ended up down by a shoe top.
You talk about a nasty slider, and that's the kind of look you'll have as a hitter going back to the dugout. After fastball after fastball after fastball, you throw a slider like this, and it almost hit him in the back foot. That's how tight that slider was from Shohei Ohtani. Started out with a 93 mile an hour fastball, amped it up to 96 throughout that at bat, and then you drop a slider like that. Tough at bat. Tapia, a very good player.
Brendan Rodgers now, the second baseman for the Rockies. On the ground, that's Iglesias. Angels defense has been markedly better in the second half of this season. Upton's back. He's improved defensively. Marsh is terrific gap to gap. And Adam Eaton is a difference maker, especially on that last road trip. Jack Mayfield put on a clinic in Minnesota. Iglesias and Fletcher up the middle. Walsh over at first. And a hitting hero yesterday, Max Stassi behind the plate.
And the defense for me all set up by Jarrett Walsh at first base. The improved fielding percentage, range factor, and zone rating all improved from last season. He's one of the best in the game. He's helped everybody out in the infield.
Charlie Blackmon has been putting up good numbers for a long time. And that one, I'm not sure how it didn't hit him, but it was close.
He's kind of shocked. He's looking in to see if it did get him.
And that's reviewable. Mike Redmond, the bench coach, is on the phone. Let's see if it moved the pant leg.
Well, it looked like it did miss him. The curveball.
Bud Black not going to challenge. Blackmon now 35 years old. A 4-time All-Star. 2-time Silver Slugger. Guy with a lot of skills in his career, but he's without one of his running mates. And of course, it's odd seeing Nolan Arenado wearing red and not purple, but he's obviously with the St. Louis Cardinals now, and that was a big piece of the Rockies' identity for a long time.
There's a splitter, first one of the game. Start him off with a slow curveball, 78, 96 mile an hour fastball. Then he follows it with an 87 mile an hour split. So 3 different speeds, 3 different pitches in one at bat for Charlie Blackmon.
I would think for hitters, Ohtani has got to be tough to scout, because you can map out one start and the next start is completely different in pitch selection and attack.
Yeah, just a few starts ago, he wasn't throwing many cutters. In the last few starts, he's been using his cutter. So he uses different pitches depending on his feel, coming from the bullpen mound to the game mound, and sometimes even in between innings, he'll have a different feel and go with different pitches.
2-2 to Blackmon. We're just underway. Let's look at that cutter.
You go back to his usage, his last 2 starts up to a little over 21%, first 12, just under 10. On his batting average, completely different, and outs recorded 9 of them in the last 2 starts with his cutter.
Trevor Story's on deck. 2-2 to Blackman. Shoots that one towards the Angels dugout.
Left-handed batters a little more success against Ohtani this year. 220, 5 home runs versus lefties, 155.
Making sure his mates are okay. That's why every major league dugout now has at least some screen in front of it. 2-2 again. And that's into left field. That's a base hit. And that's how Charlie Blackmon's made a nice living for the last 10 years.
Did a nice job of keeping his hands back on a slider that stayed upstairs, up and away. It's a good piece of hitting, especially when you go back to the first 3 pitches that Shohei threw to him. He was late on a fastball, so he was looking out over the plate and stayed with his hands back and got a base hit on a slider upstairs. It's good hitting. He tracked both pitches away late on the fastball, but Shohei sped up his bat a bit on that one, especially elevating his slider.
Now this is Trevor Story, and he's been a really nice player and a great player at times for a few years now. In 2018, 37 homers, 35 in 2019. An all-star both of those seasons. Infield plays him to pull, and there is strike 1. But this year his numbers not great, a dozen homers, and his road numbers are really underwater. 185 average, 274 on base, and just a 363 slug. And some feel it's the pressure right now that he's feeling of all the trade rumors, not knowing where he's going to be in a week.
Such a great fielder. He's unbelievable.
Little flip, routine play, and away we go. By the way, get your helmet, grab a bat. You're up second.
Fantastic fielder, may win a Gold Glove on the mound. Why not? He's Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, thanks. Let's go. I can.
No, I got it.
Sweet unholy cobalt. Is Brad's car better than mine? Better sign-up bonus? Better travel perks? Is that how Brad took that trip to Barcelona? Wait, Barcelona? Barcelona?
Steve, I got it on NerdWallet.
Ah. You said all that out loud.
Want a better credit card? We've got you. From the best rates to the best rewards, for all your credit card questions, turn to the nerds.
When we started our company, we simply wanted better sheets. But along the way, we've realized that softer, safer, organic cotton does so much more for the planet and for humanity. It helps your home become a force for good, because home is more than just an address. Home is our soul. Boll & Branch, organic sheets, bath, and home. Right now, try for 30 nights risk-free and get free shipping at bollandbranch.com.
One of the better offensive teams in the American League all season long. Part of that is David Fletcher on top. Shohei Ohtani slotted second. Justin Upton, since coming back, has hit third. Jared Walsh trying to bust out of a mini slump. Jose Iglesias had a terrific series in Minnesota. Brandon Marsh really cut loose yesterday. Stassi as well. Adam Eaton out in right field, and Jack Mayfield getting better every day at third base. German Marquez, all-star, ace, no-hit stuff. Dangerous, dangerous starter.
Yeah, he gets a lot of ground balls, but he also gets a lot of swing and miss. My go-tos to have success against him tonight is aggressive on the first pitch, 356 batting average. Lay off that non-strike curve and slider. He will get a ton of whiffs. Find about 43% whiff percentage on his curveball and slider.
Fletcher ready. Infield straight up, outfield to right center, and shallow in right. And Fletcher takes a strike. He really yesterday tried hard to punch the ball through the right side. And 3 times he hit it on the button, and every time it was caught. Right side, down the line, twisting, foul. And quickly the count is 0-2. And he's been so hot that, you know, you go back and look at the Minnesota series, he was just 3 for 18. And it's like, well, that's not David Fletcher. He's normally got, you know, at least half a dozen hits going into that final game of the series. But he is human.
He's still making contact.
Yeah,
he's forcing the defense to make a play.
Let's see what Marquez goes with 0-2. And it's out.
Straight over the top with his fastball. Can get there anywhere 93-98 with his four-seamer.
That one pulled foul. Now, one of the strengths is team speed defensively for the Rockies. Tapia, Hilliard. Now, Blackmon could go get it in his day. A little slow now. Fuentes, Story, Rogers, and Crone, former Angel. And Dom Nunez is behind the plates. That eats up Fuentes. And that's a base hit, I would think.
Yeah, hit hard, right on the money. Fuentes, the cousin of Nolan Arenado, has been really solid at third base himself. It looks a lot like him. Unable to get that hard smash by Fletch, who's always going to make contact. Boy, Fletch now in his last 28 plate appearances, no strikeouts. Even with 2 strikes on him, he's still making good contact.
You're so used to seeing that play made by the Colorado Rockies over the last 6-7 years. Ohtani now. The other unique part about this pitcher to hitter transformation and transition is it happens immediately. It's not like he's hitting 9th in the lineup like pitchers in the National League. He's in the 2 spot. So you don't have time to sit down and catch your breath from the inning. It's grab your helmet, grab your gloves, and away you go.
And I love when anytime he's asked about hitting in the day he's pitching, because that way I can help myself out swinging the bat, get some runs home.
His routine is different on days that he does pitch. Talking today with hitting coach Jeremy Reed. On some days, if he feels great, he won't take swings in the cage. Otherwise, he's got a couple drills that he'll try, and he cuts back when he does start. Whoa!
That was a high changeup.
That qualifies for one of your non-strike pitches, right?
And you lay off those for sure. Even David Fletcher, if he was at the plate, would have probably laid off that one too. As much as he likes the high pitch, that's a little bit too high.
2-1. Ohtani sitting on 35 homers, 22 doubles, leads the majors in extra base hits. Wow, I was premature in awarding a hit to David Fletcher.
It's still early. You never know.
I know. Under review.
91% of the time, Marquez is throwing a 3-1 fastball to a left-handed batter, although this is a little bit different left-handed batter in an open base. And he is a ground ball doubles machine, so there's no guarantee he's going to challenge Ohtani with a fastball here.
Ohtani up the middle, and it rolls into center field. Fletcher around third. He will score, and the Angels are on the board first.
Not that patent exit velocity for Shohei Ohtani, but he gets the job done with his RBI single.
73-mile-an-hour RBI single, I think.
Broke his bat. That's how strong he is. He's still able to get it through the infield.
But they count 2.
Ooh, even the sound of a broken bat is special when Shohei Ohtani's swinging the bat. RBI single, giving him now 76 RBI. Scoring Fletch. Got on an error. Advanced on a wild pitch. Scores on a single.
Upton now. Infield playing him to pull. Outfield a little bit to left center. And Justin drops down a bunt and then kicks off his foot, and it looked like he was in the box when it did. Joe Madden really happy yesterday with the situational hitting and the ability to move runners, especially late in the game against the Twins.
That's so important when you got to be able to find a way to score on when you don't hit a home run or hit an extra base hit. When you got a guy in scoring position, fight to get him home, get him over.
Greg Gibson over there emphatically safe. Marquez, excellent athlete, good feet.
And 3 career pickoffs, allowed 5 stolen bases in 7 attempts. Although Shohei says he once even tried to steal bags when he's pitching, doesn't look like he's in one of those running moods right yet.
And he's been, look, anytime a player comes over from a different country, you have a tendency to be a little bit reserved, but he's been really upfront with Joe Madden. He wants to run. There have been times where he's asked, hey, green light, late in games. He said, let's go.
If I'm Marquez, I'm throwing a lot of throws over there, trying to wear him out, going back to the bag.
He's running up to the center. Back goes Hilliard, and he has it. And Ohtani retreats to first base. Upton's bat is starting to perk up. You can see with every at bat, the ball's starting to jump a little bit.
Well, times happened yesterday where Shohei Ohtani got great jumps, but Upton at the plate. That's a huge jump. Just missed that one.
An out, and here's Walsh. For all the hitters that came out of Minnesota feeling pretty good, Jared Walsh is just trying to come out of it. And there were some signs. A couple of balls hit hard to the left side that Jeremy Reed felt was a good sign. We'll see how he responds at home in this 3-game series. 22 homers.
And that's 4 throws over there now already at first base for Shohei Ohtani. An attempt at stolen base.
Is this Bud Black and Marquez maybe a little rope-a-dope trying to, to wear him out a bit?
And he's still at first base here, and he's going to have to eventually at some point get back in there, grab his glove, and get back on the pitching mound.
Well, he has 13 stolen bases.
Career high already.
And back he goes.
You might as well get this in then. Jared Walsh is .291 hitter at home with a slugging percentage of .575.
I think you're going to have a little more time to work any Walsh tidbit in, because I think this is going to continue a bit here. But he is a legitimate stolen base threat. A little quick pitch, and it misses.
And if you're Walsh right now, you're liking this. You got a pitcher that's distracted by a base runner. That usually means you're going to try to be a little quicker to the plate and more apt to throw something in the middle of the plate.
And Mark beatable his last time out. In fact, Seattle beat him with 4 runs in 6 innings. Ohtani runs. Walsh takes. The throw is not in time. That's number 14 for Ohtani. Dom Nunez with the throw.
And a quick look in there. I think that might be the first time he has stolen a base when he's been on the mound. Slides in there, no tag applied.
Rockies were looking at this, but there's nothing here.
Story is so good at shortstop, by the way. He's one of the best. He's a fantastic base runner to go along with being a good hitter, but a solid defender at shortstop.
Infield swung over to the right side. Big gap out where shortstop should be. And Marquez pounding Jared Walsh inside. And the count's 3-0. Marquez gave up the 4 runs against Seattle, lost the game. But in his previous 5 starts, His ERA was 0.75. And, of course, he did pitch an inning in the All-Star game. Into right, Ohtani got a good jump. Blackman up with it. Here comes Ohtani. He will score.
2 base hits in this inning. Not crushed, but the job is done. Shohei Ohtani picking up his first stolen base when he started the game on the mound, scores a run, and now gives him a chance for a little bit of a breather in the dugout.
And if you're Jared Walsh, a hit like this has to feel great.
And that's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball off the inside part of the plate, still able to get enough on the barrel to get that into the outfield for an RBI single. Shohei scoring the second run of the inning.
Iglesias now. Jose Iglesias enjoyed Minnesota. 3 doubles, 5 hits. Runner goes, hit and run. And Iglesias trying to push it into that hole. Didn't have a great pitch. Anything on your hands is tough in that situation.
Especially a pitch up in the half of the plate. We're still going back to this inning so far for Shohei Ohtani. Strikes out the first batter, fields a rocket back up the middle to him, gets an RBI single, steals a base, and scores a run.
You're leaving out the 5 or 6 pickoff throws. Iglesias to center. Hilliard comes on, it falls in front, and Walsh just gets in under the throw.
Boy, for Marquez, you're feeling really, really like snake bitten right now because 3 base hits against you. Nothing has been hit hard yet. It's frustrating.
The hardest hit ball was the Fletcher ball that was ruled an error.
Take a look at our Hyundai key for the game today, the Fray. Colorado band, you found me. Right now they're finding a way to get base hits against Marquez, especially in the first inning. You mentioned the last game out struggled, but before that he was dominant. You found me and found a way to get some base hits and score some runs and being creative running the bases.
Bud Black, or Pepe as Joe Madden refers to him, although Madden has like 4 nicknames for Bud Black. There's still
Mr. Freeze in there too.
Mr. Freeze is a good one in there. That group from the World Championship team, Mike Scioscia's staff, still very, very close. And here is Brandon Marsh.
That's not Charlie Blackmon?
No, that's Charlie Blackmon 2.0.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a big day for Marsh. Came up with an RBI hit late in the ball game. He'd been spraying line drives around Target Field without a whole lot to show before yesterday. Captain Caveman and Son.
That's pretty good. Great job, everybody else in that one. Is it what?
And you know we've mentioned Jason Worth, who was from the last generation, great player for the Phillies and the Nationals. Marsh with a swing and a miss. Marsh was asked a very pointed question the other day. How do you groom your beard? And he gave a brief answer and said, I don't.
I was going to say, you just don't, right?
He said, every now and then I'll shampoo it, but that's about it. And yesterday, the beard, the hair, and everything was in all its glory when he came stumbling and rumbling, so to speak, around third and scored on a base hit. And with a face-first dive, came across the plate.
That's another fastball that's in on the hands of a hitter. Marquez, in the pitch before his knuckle curve, he's average velocity on his knuckle curve at 85 miles per hour. That's the hardest knuckle curve. Average knuckle curve is at 80.9 miles per hour.
It's a stat that's, one of the more advanced stats, but barrels and missing barrels if you're a pitcher. And I think this inning is a good example of a guy who's missing barrels but still getting hurt.
And forced him to throw a lot of pitches, 23 of them. 14 strikes.
This guy was awesome yesterday. Max Stassi, when the Angels needed him most, RBI triple, solo homer, run scoring single to add on in the ninth. See the barrel rate on the bottom there, third best at missing barrels. And you mentioned the high volume of ground balls.
14 double plays turned behind him, 54.3% ground ball rate.
See, I like it when you can use those advanced, the numbers, the new numbers, which are awesome, to paint the picture of what the guy does. And
you can see how this inning has unfolded. You really haven't squared anything up against him, but you made some contact, and that's what's important. Because he is a guy that will get a lot of strikeouts too, coming in the game, 119 of them, and 118 in the third.
Had a chance today to talk to Jeremy Reed, the hitting coach for the Angels. And one of the things that he said stood out in terms of preparation for a game. He said it's not necessarily, worrying about stuff or situation. A lot of times we'll sit down with the hitters as a group and say, against this pitcher, here's what we have to do to win. We can't do this, or we can do this. Here's where we can be effective. And he hopes that and likes to see hitters that make an adjustment off of that. A swing and a miss, and Stassi strikes out. But the Angels put 2 on the board. Shohei Ohtani back on the mound to you.
Looking for dinner made easy? Move over meal prep and make way for pre-chopped and pre-portioned ingredients. Hit the road hard to follow recipes and say hello to easy breezy meals. Peace out, pile of dishes, and welcome easy cleanup. Well, hello there, Home Chef. Home Chef oven ready meals, pre-chopped and pre-portioned recipes without the prep or mess. Get $90 off your first month at homechef.com. Home Chef, delicious meat simple.
Ooh, tortoise.
What are you doing?
I'm taking a quiz.
But you're 36 years old and not in school.
Well, thanks for the reminder. But it's a frames quiz by Warby Parker. I answer a few questions. It tells me which glasses are right for my face. And then I can try 5 pairs for free.
Sounds like you've really done your homework.
If there were any homework, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Because I don't have my glasses yet.
Touche.
Yes. Yeah.
Starting pitcher already has what? Stolen base, an RBI single. What else can Shohei do? Let's get on the pitching side of 31.2 strikeout percentage. Big league average 23%. Look at that discrepancy on the plus side. And then 0.7 home runs allowed per 9. In Japan in 5 seasons, Rich Ruby, 0.4. And then why not talk about Nitorio, the two-way player, slugger. And then on base, 703, which you already showed with the RBI single in that very first inning.
Hey, Jose, put your hitting shoes on. The approach by the Angels against Marquez in the first inning, what did you see?
I like the fact that they forced him into the strike zone and just let him provide all the power, even though the balls were not hit very hard. It's called that productive at-bats and productive contact.
I like it. At the knees to open the at-bat for a former Angel, C.J. Cron, Sam Hilliard, and Connor Joe in the second for the Rockies.
Don't see that too often. C.J. Cron taking the first pitch, and I think he's going to regret that one. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball in his wheelhouse. See if Shohei can get him to chase something now.
Angel fans certainly know Cron. He spent 4 years here. He's been a Ray, a Twin, and a Tiger since. And now a Rocky. His dad, Chris, longtime minor leaguer, and got to the big leagues with the Angels as well, and then was a longtime minor league manager. And that's where this guy grew up, was next to his dad as he managed in the minor leagues.
He has incredible power. He connects on a baseball, it will go a long, long way.
Had a really nice year with the Rays. Hit some homers with the Twins. Ohtani a strikeout in the first. Gave up a single to Blackman as well. Look out.
It's a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, by the way, inside.
It came back in your direction at a faster speed.
Yes. But Ken French had his glove ready, but I'm not sure. He won't show if the baseball's in the glove, though. I think it just went just above him. He's used to those slap shots over it across the way in Honda Center with the Ducks.
1-2.
It's a couple sliders so far in this game. That's something when we talk about creativity and a feel for his pitch. A couple sliders in a row, kind of flat. The one base hit to Blackman into left field, and that one there to C.J. Cron. See if he gets on top, and try his cut fastball now to get back to a better feel for a slider.
On Angels Live, Joe Madden told you there are times where Ohtani, in the middle of a start, will ask a teammate about his grip on a slider, and then go out that inning and use his teammate's grip on his slider.
He said only you, Darvish, as anybody's ever seen make the adjustments like that. And he came back and he threw his cutter. A little bit more of the plate than he wanted to. I think right now is a perfect time to try to split.
It is the pitch that seemingly every Japanese pitcher comes supplied with when they arrive in the major leagues, and it is a weapon. Fletcher. In case you missed it, here's the first inning for Shohei Ohtani. Our tools of the trade by Jeep.
Remember that, a nasty swing and miss slider. Fielding his position on a rocket back up the middle. Flips over to first to finish it off, and then picks up an RBI single. And wait, there's more. Steals a base for Shohei Ohtani, his 14th, and then scores on a base hit. Unbelievable first inning for Shohei Ohtani on the mound and at the plate and on the bases.
Sam Hilliard fouls that off. How many starting pitchers in the second inning are dirty from almost head to toe? You can see the dirt on the jersey, the pants, both sides, diving back to first, sliding into second.
Most starting pitchers don't get a chance to hit in the first inning, put it that way, let alone get dirty in the first inning. They're batting number 9.
Hilliard takes inside. Hilliard is an interesting player. He has a ton of speed, and that's one of the characteristics of this Colorado team by design, especially defensively in that big ballpark. Hilliard's a center fielder. He has power, but right now he's trying to figure out how to make more contact.
That's a pretty good slide. That's a good adjustment on a slider. Where this baseball drops. So on top, slider going down. That is some late break to it. That's exactly the same pitch he struck out Tapia first batter of the game.
1-2. And it misses in. The Rockies have always been a great team at home, and the altitude certainly helps. But this year, it's really extreme. They're 33-30 at home, and as you noted, 10-26. The worst in baseball on the road. And they're on pace for the second worst road record since 1969. Out to center, a slip there by Marsh, and he recovers and makes the catch.
It helps have that good speed that Marsh has. And back full by the sound of the bats, and still running in and make the play.
The other interesting thing about the Rockies, it's always been starting pitching has been a weakness. This year, starting pitching has been their strength. And they've had trouble being consistent offensively, and their bullpen has been an issue.
And the ERA at home, almost a run better than on the road, was just shocking. You know, the batting average would go down. Normally it has for the Rockies when they go on the road, but there's a huge discrepancy as far as hitting, and then you look at the pitching run.
Connor Joe rips that one over Upton and off the wall and around first into second, and he's got himself a double. San Diego kid who had to battle cancer last year, missed the entire year with chemotherapy, lost a lot of his hair, and he's in the big leagues, and he can swing it.
And if you're going to have any success usually against Shohei, you're going to have to try to do it early. Swinging at the first pitch.
Joshua Fuentes now, the third baseman. And you touched upon it. Nolan Arenado is his cousin. And Fuentes, a lot like Jack Mayfield, wasn't drafted, non-drafted free agent. But he had a cousin who had the ear of the general manager of the Rockies. And Nolan Arenado said, you know, you ought to sign my cousin. And they listened to Nolan Arenado, and they're glad they did, because Fuentes has climbed his way to the big leagues.
Very good on the first pitch himself.
In the air, should be playable for Walsh. Shohei Ohtani, 2 scoreless in the books. Angels on top, 2-0.
Take a pregame trip around the league. See batting practice, fielding drills, player interviews, and expert analysis.
He gets it there, and then from here he just BAM!
Get exclusive access only on The Rundown. Weekdays only on MLB Network.
How the Angels got here with all the moves they made. They have
Meet Justin Upton. He's watching MLB Network.
Again, the lineup got deeper.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
They're deep. They're deep.
It's time for MLB Pitch, Hit, and Run, presented by MLB Network, the official youth skills competition of Major League Baseball. Sign up today for your chance to play your way to the 2021 Pitch, Hit, and Run National Finals. Sign up for free at pitchhitrun.com.
Get closer to the action.
You gotta be kidding me!
Closer to the big blast.
Way, way, way out of here!
Closer to the great grabs.
Took a home run away!
Closer to the jaw-dropping plays.
Unbelievable!
With more highlights.
He struck him out!
More analysis.
That's a big uplifting play for a pitcher.
And more live look-ins.
Wow!
Nobody gets you closer to the game. Every night.
Only on MLB Network.
Board against Vermont Marquez. He is from San Felix in Venezuela. At Coors Field, Booby was talking about this. Their starters have been outstanding. 3.29, only 4 homers allowed at home. 120 with 2 strikes, well below the MLB average of 163. And then, top of the order, he takes care of business, especially not allowing those guys to go out there and slug the baseball and create bigger issues. Vermont Marquez.
And you know what, Jose? He kind of breaks the mold they're around baseball, sometimes they say be wary of any pitcher that the Rays trade, because they know what they're doing, and sometimes they'll keep the good ones and discard the ones they're not that high on.
Yeah, and for years, Buddy Black in spring training has talked to me so highly about Marquez, Senzatella, and that group that he really loved, and thought he had a nice core group to build off of.
Yeah, he came from the Rays back in 2016. He just signed a 5-year contract as well. Well deserved. Anybody that can do that at Coors Field, it's pretty valuable. This is Eaton with Mayfield and Fletcher to follow.
And the interesting thing, his name is being thrown out there as far as potential trade rumors, and most starts since 2017, third most in the game. He's durable, gives you innings, very good quality innings. Bud Black says, you know what, he's not going anywhere.
Eaton lines it back, and for Adam Eaton in Minnesota, he showed off his defense. He made a couple plays in the gap in game 2 that helped save that game. And in yesterday's ball game, had a stolen base, a bunt single. Exactly what they want from him. A race for first. Marquez is there. Safe. He got there.
I'm sure you're going to look at that when they're running right down to the dugout. That was really close, but Gibson had a good view of it. And they're already saying check it.
Eaton doesn't look too confident.
C.J. Cron with the flip of the glove, and Marquez, you see, boom, getting that corner of the base. I think it's going to be reversed and called out. It's a pretty athletic play. You see, got to the bag. Because not only you got to make that play on the flip from Cron, and you got to catch it and still find the bag and beat Adam Eaton to the bag. That's a great play by Marquez, and a good flip there from C.J. Cron, knowing he had no time to get the transfer from the glove to the throwing hand. It's going to be pretty quick.
The last few games, I don't know if you feel this way, but I do. The reviews have been lightning quick.
Yes. All
less than a minute for, I don't know if it's been an adjustment or if they're getting better at it. He is out. I think we all saw it. Eaton reluctantly leaves first. But the reviews in Minnesota were very brief, which is good.
Even after he made the call, Greg Gibson was looking in at their dugout right away. And he knew it was such one of those difficult plays, especially he's trying to move and get himself in a good angle to call the play.
Here's Mayfield. Josh Donaldson made sure that Mayfield got on a plane yesterday and left Minnesota because he robbed the Twins' third baseman numerous times of extra bases in that series. That's one of the best series you will see from a third baseman in all 4 games. And I'm talking defensively. He also hit a couple homers and had an RBI double late yesterday.
He hit 308, 4 for 13 with 5 RBIs, a couple home runs, and a double. And Joe Madden really liked his double to right center, even more so than the line drives hit left field for home runs.
Fletcher on deck. German Marquez, 26-year-old Venezuelan. Angels 2 runs in the first. Shohei Ohtani an RBI single. Jared Walsh knocked in a run with a single. Hilliard makes the catch, and now a quick word from GMC.
The world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate available in the GMC Sierra. We are professional grade GMC.
Homestand opens tonight. Shohei Ohtani starting tonight on the mound. And he is hitting second in an Angels lineup that now turns over. Fletcher This time caught by Fuentes across the diamond and gets the outs. Marquez goes 1, 2, 3 through the Angels in the second.
How the Angels got here with all the moves they made. They have
Meet Justin Upton. He's watching MLB Network.
Again, the lineup got deeper.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
They're deep. They're deep.
Get closer to the action.
You gotta be kidding me.
Closer to the big blast.
Way, way, way out of here.
Closer to the great grabs.
Took a home run away.
Closer to the jaw-dropping plays.
Unbelievable.
With more highlights.
He struck him out.
More analysis.
That's a big uplifting play for a pitcher.
And more live look-ins.
Wow.
Nobody gets you closer to the game. Every night.
Only on MLB Network.
Here's tonight's StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud. The average pitch movement for all the different pitches that Shohei Ohtani, the four-seamer, splitter, slider, cutter, curve. You see the difference. The horizontal break is compared to the vertical break on his splitter. It's outstanding how it drops that cut action with his four-seam fastball straight down with his curveball. Same thing with his cutter, and then that late break with slider. It's fantastic where he's able to, looks like it's going to be a flat slider, then has a downward tilt on the vertical movement.
There have been some Japanese players, pitchers in particular, that have come over to Major League Baseball, and when they arrive, they tell the pitching coach, I have like 6 pitches I throw. And the pitching coach says, all right, let's just do 3, right, and work on that. But Ohtani, it's like, yeah, you go get him. And that's one of the beauties of Ohtani, and I would think one of the frustrations for hitters is just the variety. And they're all quality, it feels. Walsh is there.
One good thing, he's got 2 outs today on 1 pitch already, so that's good for Shohei to be able to get deeper in the game. Mentioned, we talked about that even in the opening. In his last 2 starts, going 13 innings, averaging a total 92.5 pitches per game. So it's important for Shohei to get those quick outs because he's going to have some long at bats because he's going to get his strikeouts. All
right, he's so unique, Gooby. Do you have a comp to when you played, or even from the time you've become a broadcaster, a guy that has such variety and will use it differently from start to start?
The one pitcher, and he was my old friend and teammate at one point, David Cohn was one, because he would come with different arm angles. He ended up throwing a splitter as his career progressed. He threw a curveball and a slider and a fastball from different arm angles. Very similar and creative during the course of the game. There's times where he'll do a little Luis Tiant as far as all of a sudden there's hesitation in his delivery. Coney was. He was really, really creative, and that's the same thing I'm seeing a lot from Shohei Ohtani.
Raimel Tapia. And Ohtani misses up.
Yeah, Coney threw a perfect game, you remember. This, I think the anniversary was just a couple weeks ago, and he didn't really have his best fastball, and he told me about that. He was just creating pitches as the game progressed, changing speed with his slider, changing speed with his curveball, same thing with his splitter.
95, and the other thing here with Ohtani, it feels like if he needs it, he can reach back and go upper 90s.
Yeah, when runners are on base, it's a different Shohei Ohtani as far as velocity on his fastball and where he spots it.
Mayfield cuts across and gets the out.
Fastball at 97. And Tapia hits the fastball well, but unable to make good contact on that one as Mayfield had to come in, and even though he had a slight little bobble quick enough on the transfer to get him out. There's going to be a little bit of spin on the baseball, and you're going to have that in the glove, but still recover quickly, and that sidearm throw, a lot on it for Mayfield. A lot of times you look at home, it's like, oh, that's a slow roller that way. It should be an easy play, but because of that spin off the bat, it's a more difficult play for a third baseman, especially all those rockets that were hit his way up in Minnesota.
Well, he's made all the plays so far this year. That one kind of backed up and caught the inside corner.
I think that's why you see that batting average on first pitch pretty high against Shohei at times too. Fastball too, but he throws that get over breaking ball at a lot of the plate, and that's a dangerous one.
Here's the one stat that really surprises me because his numbers are so good. When he is behind in the count, hitters' OPS skyrockets. It's the worst in Major League Baseball. How does he avoid that? I mean, you would think a guy that had that number would have an ERA of 6 attached to it.
Because he bears down with guys on base. And if he keeps it in the ballpark, he's able to come back even if there's somebody on base.
Center field. Marsh. No slip this time. Makes the catch. 1-2-3 inning. Check the cap, check the glove, grab the bat. Let's go to Hacken. Ohtani leads it off when we return.
Living in this big new world with my head up and down.
Hey, Harold, how do you prepare for a big show?
Well, I just try to stay positive. Take it one show at a time and treat it just like any other show.
How do you feel about the other analysts you work with?
It's a great group of guys. We're all on the same page. I'm just happy to be here.
What's your prediction for the season?
We'll see what happens. It all comes down to execution in the studio.
The pro player answers. He's still got it.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions on MLB Network.
It's time for MLB Pitch, Hit, and Run, presented by MLB Network, the official youth skills competition of Major League Baseball. Sign up today for your chance to play your way to the 2021 Pitch, Hit, and Run National Finals. Sign up for free at pitchhitrun.com.
His progress to the plate delayed by a check for sticky stuff coming off the mound. And Ohtani, batting gloves on, pad on that right elbow. And that's a good idea for a pitcher. Climbs in, second at bat. Grounded a ball up the middle into center field to knock home a run in the first.
7 home runs on the first pitch put in play for Shohei Ohtani. With a look inside. It's going away against him.
He got his money's worth on that swing. Fewest games at 35. Remember that great 69 that Reggie Jackson had. McGuire, obviously. Griffey in 98, 94. And Ohtani 92 this year.
I'm looking at that. There's some great players right there, but I'm pretty sure none of them had 4 wins on the mound. This check.
I'm trying to think if any of those guys ever pitched, like in high school. I don't think Griffey did. I don't think Jackson did.
I know McGuire did.
Okay, that's where the one guy.
So I thought I heard he pitched even at USC. Mark McGuire. I don't know that 100% sure, but I thought he did.
Marquez 0-2. Ohtani goes around, and down he goes.
It's that nasty knuckle curve. He will get a lot of chases and swing and misses. This knuckle curve, how much that drops down in that vertical drop. Marquez.
Well, Ohtani certainly perked up after that off day. Jose Mota joins us now. Jose, what have you seen mechanically from Ohtani after the day off compared to that streak after the All-Star break where he scuffled?
It's just quite obvious he's more on time, which means he's more ready for the fastball, not guessing as much, not trying to overproduce or overcreate the power, and the trust in those hands, those drills that he likes, and he brought up from Japan, some of them, have paid off mightily just for one day to keep it simple. One of those drills, by the way, guys, is they'll do soft toss from behind you.
Yes.
And not in front of you.
Yes.
Which makes you and forces you to keep your eyes on that baseball all throughout.
The other thing, Jose, they will do, they'll use long bats, weighted bats. All of that helps with, when you get your bat in your hand, bat head speed.
Plenty of options. Color baseball, numbered baseballs, you name it. Go down that list.
Here's Upton now. He swings and misses. Thank you, Jose. Upton hit a smash to center that was run down by Hilliard. We got Jared Walsh due up next.
That's usually a really good sign for Jay up when he's hitting the ball to center, right center. That means he's going to get locked in. You're feeling better about that, not in that pull mode. By the way, Mark McGwire did pitch at USC. And he's recruited as a pitcher.
And I knew that with the vast amount of USC aficionados and baseball players and alums, that they would get to you quickly through text or social media. Upton goes down, and Marquez, who had a bumpy first inning, has really settled in.
We got a strikeout on a knuckle curve. Now he gets a strikeout on a slider. So far this season now, he came in with 46 strikeouts on a slider, 60 on his knuckle curve. See how many strikeouts on non-fastballs. Clayton Kershaw with more at 117.
Walsh takes up. When a hitter struggles, you always look for little things, taking walks, hit a ball hard the opposite way, or just getting something to fall in. And Walsh got something to fall in back in the first. Taps it back to the mound. Marquez flip on over. He has retired 8 in a row. But the Angels on top 2-0. Angels and A's at 1 o'clock. First 14,000 fans in attendance get an exclusive baseball card courtesy of Topps. Angels.com/promotions. The gentleman in the white polo, the Rockies polo, that is the son of Bud Black, and his firefighting friends are here for a game, and they got great seats courtesy of Pepe, as Joe Madden calls Bud Black. That, you know, you go back to that 2002 coaching staff when they had their coaches meetings. There was approximately 10,000 games managed in that meeting room. This is Iglesias all the way from short, who gets the flip. Walsh secures it, and that is range factor.
So far today, we've had a couple flips with the glove. The throwing hand, is this an option today in the infield? C.J. Cron, and now Jose Iglesias. In that stretch. I'm telling you, we got to go to that yoga class that Garrett Walsh goes to. That flexibility is incredible.
That's helped, hasn't it? Now Iglesias is back over on the other side of the diamond, and Walsh is all alone on the right because Story is a pull hitter. So in that 2002 coaches room, 10,000 games managed. You had Sosha, obviously, but then you had future managers, Madden, Black, and Ron Renicky.
All of them been to the postseason as managers.
And that hurts, obviously, and that's the last thing anybody wants, especially Story. And especially the Rockies.
Fastball just ran in. Shohei Ohtani on Trevor Story. He's trying to stay inside the baseball. That got him square on the hand and the wrist.
If you've noticed Ohtani in his at-bats, he's a left-handed hitter. So his right hand, his pitching hand, he actually wears a big pad on the hand, which not a lot of hitters wear because some feel it's cumbersome. And that hit Story right on the back of the left hand.
And you can see when Shohei drops his wrist at all, it's going to have that horizontal late run to it. There's no way as a right-handed batter to get out of the way of it. And reaction right away from Trevor Story on that one.
Boy, he's still down and still in a tremendous amount of pain. And now getting up. Trying to shake it off. Let's hope he's okay. There's probably more than a dozen general managers across baseball holding their breath. He's still talking to Bud Black, and Bud Black.
Yeah, he's talking to himself. Keep him in the game.
You know, oftentimes guys will say, look, I can run. I may not be able to play after this, but at least let me run.
And he is a tremendous base stealer. 17 stolen bases. One of the best base runners in the game of baseball. And you can imagine he's going to be thinking about going right away.
That was the old school way to get revenge back in the 60s. Guys like Willie Mays or Frank Robinson, guys that got hit or dusted. It was get down to first and steal second.
He has that guard on his hand as a base stealer.
He had to remove the batting glove and then put that thing on his left hand.
So even as the grip to try to get the batting glove off the hand. C.J. Cron will be swinging here at the first pitch. See if you get Cron to be aggressive and get him to hit the ball on the ground.
Popped out back in the second.
Huge lead.
Not running. A strike. Right on the black and at the letters. University of Utah, of course, born in Fullerton. We talked about his dad, Angel farmhand. Got to the big leagues with the Angels. Story leaning. Not running. Ohtani. And it's fouled back.
And the one thing we've seen from Shohei, after especially hitting a guy like he did against Trevor Story, it's more apt to stay away for a few pitches after that. Curveball away, fastball away.
And that happened in Oakland.
Yeah. So as a hitter, not you're comfortable looking inside because if he lets one and drops that wrist enough, it's going to run in on you. You're going to be in trouble. But if you're C.J. Cron, you're more likely to look away here. And Cron has always been a guy with, if you elevate pitches, he can hit it a long, long way. It's going to be important if he goes with a slider here to stay on top of it and have that downward action. Trust Max Stassi to keep that in front of him. With a potential strike him out, throw him out on a breaking ball here.
Got him. Just off the plate, and Cron may have mentioned that to Rob Drake on his way behind him. But Ohtani gets that call, and he gets the strikeout. Second of the night.
Boy, a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. See, it's going to be at least a half a baseball off the corner. One swinging, one looking so far, 2 strikeouts.
Now Hilliard. By the way, the fact that Bud Black is managing this game tonight is news. He had missed a few games because of COVID protocol. 4 other players were held out, but back in black, so to speak.
Yeah, I talked to him today. He says he's feeling great right now.
Little roller up the line.
Here's Shohei being creative. Now you're seeing him throw a few more curveballs. He's thrown a couple of them in this inning. You've seen before where he's thrown a curveball at 68 and 69 miles an hour. He's thrown a 73 and a 75 mile an hour curveball in this inning.
This must be a really fun ride for Max Stassi. Right?
Yeah, I would think so.
He was brilliant the other night with Patrick Sandoval, who just was effusive in praise after nearly getting the no-hitter, talking about Stassi never shaking him off, with him every step of the way.
Yeah, they were in sync throughout the entire game. Then the next day, it's a triple, his first of his career, and a home run. Big game with the bat after a great game with the glove.
That one's fouled back. One and 2 if you're just joining us. Here's what you've missed. 2 runs in the first by the Angels with RBI hits from Ohtani and Walsh. That's a great sign. Ohtani on the mound, pretty darn good. He's given up some hits. A single to Blackman in the first, the double to Connor Joe in the second. He's hit Story here. But with 2 outs, he's 1 and 2 on center fielder Sam Hilliard. And he'll line it into left field. That's a hit.
I was thinking maybe he's going to go with a split. That was a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. 99.
And that's going to bring Connor Joe up.
I mean, that fastball is away. That's just a pretty good piece of hitting by Hilliard. I mean, after you're seeing a curveball and a slider in that sequence, and you stay back and line a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, you're just letting him generate the power. You're just making contact. Remember, Joe was swinging at the first pitch. That was a slider. 250 for batters against Shohei versus fastballs.
We saw Story at second. Hilliard can fly at first, the trail runner. So any ball in the gap could mean 2 runs. And Joe stands in.
This is where usually Shohei just amps it up to that next level. Hitters this year 0-77 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
One and 0. University of San Diego for Connor Joe, Chris Bryant's alma mater. He had a lot of stops along the way in the minor leagues. He finally got to the big leagues with the Giants last year, had 8 games, felt everything was coming together, and was then diagnosed with testicular cancer. And thankfully, a year of treatment, and he's clear of it. Strike, and it's 1-1.
Well, I'm pretty shocked that Shohei's paying such attention to Trevor Story at second base now with 2 outs. We know he's a great base runner. The man at the plate got a base hit against you, his first at bat. That focus you want to see from Shohei is this rate on the batter himself.
Joe's double was over Upton's head and left, but the outfield is swung towards right center. .53 pitches in, 2 outs in the 4th.
And a lot slower pace in this inning for Shohei since he hit Trevor Story with his fastball in his hand.
.97 on the black, and it evens the count. So good at home. 8 starts here at the Big A and an ERA of 1.87. And a good crowd on this Monday night to open the homestand, open the series. A homestand that has 2 Ohtani starts. Sunday against Oakland. Should be the next. 2-2. Shallow right. Walsh is out and has it. And the Rockies lead 2. Bottom 4, Big A, 2-0. Angels.
Have new money goals this year? NerdWallet can help make them happen. Like getting auto insurance to match your new 0-mile commute? We have tools for that. Want to refinance your mortgage and put those savings into the college fund? We have tips for that too. Or get a low-interest credit card for your long-awaited honeymoon? We can help you find the one. Credit card, that is. Discover and compare the smartest credit cards, mortgage lenders, and more on NerdWallet. For all your money questions, turn to the nerds.
We invented a new way to win. With sugarcane, merino wool, and eucalyptus trees. Natural materials that give our shoes the strength and the speed to compete. Because when nature wins, we all win. Introducing the Dasher by Allbirds. Run hard, tread light.
Trevor Story is known for his toughness, and he's staying in the game, still flexing that left hand. And while we were away, after that last out was recorded, Ohtani, little apology, he checked in on him first. That was kind of similar to the Marquez exchange in Oakland.
And you mentioned Trevor Story is about as tough as you can find as a player, because that got him square on the hand, and that was a mid-90s fastball.
Iglesias single back in the first. Brandon Marsh, Max Stassi following here in the fourth. Marquez. Kia, player profile. Off-speed pitches. Much to the liking of Jose Iglesias, the American League leader against breaking pitches or change-ups, splits, anything off-speed. You throw that in the bin. And especially with 2 strikes, this guy is, he's not out of the at-bat.
And even when you look at the straight numbers against breaking balls itself, you take away the changeup bat, it's a .331 batting average.
Story, that hand tested, flips it in time. And Brandon Marsh will be coming up. Today, Baseball America released its mid-season top 100 prospects, updating things from opening day. And guess what? Look who's moving up. Brandon Marsh went from 55 to 26. Reed Detmers, who had an outstanding start in AAA, went from 93 to 24. And Joe Adell at 41.
He homered again today, Joe Adell. Reed Detmers went 6 innings, a shutout ball in AAA, 9 strikeouts. He had 97 strikeouts in 54 innings in Double-A.
In my discussion today with Jose and Jeremy Reed, talking about Brandon Marsh, strike zone knowledge off the charts, said Jeremy Reed. Not often that a young player steps from the minor leagues and steps into the major league batter's box and looks completely comfortable, isn't swinging at pitches out of the zone.
He's locked in on the pitches in the zone. And even when there's pitches called a strike, and he was called out twice recently, and both of those pitches were out of the strike zone, and he knew it. He hasn't changed his approach. He's going to make sure he's swinging at strikes only.
The last young hitter that I saw get to the major leagues and have that ability and impress his manager, Don Mattingly, which is pretty impressive, is a guy that's from your area where you live, Christian Yelich. Yeah. He knew exactly what the strike zone was, and there was no learning curve. He stepped right in and could identify balls, strikes, didn't swing at balls, and usually hit the strikes. And this kid has it as well.
Remember, Christian Yelich had some power early, and he developed power later on. And that's what the conversation is with Brandon Marsh. So you're going to see that a little bit later on, but you just stay that same approach of right center, left center, and have a great idea of the strike zone.
Two-two pitch. Strike 3 called.
That's another strike. And he's been called out on a ball off the plate.
Exactly, right there. He didn't offer. It was off the plate, but he's rung up.
You can tell just by that step back and then walk. He goes, okay, I know that's not in the strike zone. And that's it, about at least a baseball off the corner. And Rob Drake calls it knuckle curve.
At what point as a rookie is he allowed to speak to Rob Drake and maybe not throw the helmet or whatever? That ball's hit in the gap, left center field. It's going to get to the wall. Hilliard on the warning track, and Max Stassi, first pitch he sees from Marquez, 2-out double.
And that's what you have to do against Marquez. You don't want to deal with that knuckle curve or slider. Lines it, extra base hit. Now 15 extra base hits this year for Max Stassi. And go back to your point about Brandon Marsh, as you see in scoring position now for Adam Eaton, is there's a right way, especially as a young player, is just kind of go up. Is that in the strike zone? Get the corner. Just politely, you could get away with it a little bit more as a position player, because on the mound when you question it, because everyone can see that. At the plate, you can ask quietly and find out for sure as a hitter.
Eaton, bat flying, ball rolling. Rogers fielding, and he gets the out at first. Stassi left at second to the fifth. It's 2-0 Angels.
%52% of men between 40 and 70 experience erectile dysfunction, but many don't get treated. Now there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. With Roman, you can get genuine ED medication prescribed by a healthcare professional from the comfort of home. If prescribed, you'll receive your medication with free 2-day shipping in discreet packaging. Start your free online visit today at GetRoman.com/TV.
It's not just because Boll & Branch organic cotton sheets are incredibly soft. They are. And it's not just that they're free from toxins and made by people who are paid and treated fairly. That's true too. It's because home is where the magic happens. And with better sheets made in safer ways, home makes the world a better place. Boll & Branch. Right now, try for 30 nights risk-free and get free shipping at bollandbranch.com.
Time now for our Carl's Cam replay. Max Stassi is a day late and a double short. He just doubled in this game. This was yesterday in Minnesota. That's a triple. That knocked in a run in the second. Home run just inside the pole. That was in the fifth. And the ninth, when the Angels needed an extra run, an RBI single. Catchers with a homer and a triple in the same game. Look at Buck Rogers making the show. Mike Napoli.
Party at Napoli's.
Joshua Fuentes, Dom Nunez, Raimel Tapia. This is 8-9-1 in the Rockies order. Yeah, Stassi's offensive year has been impressive. And the impressive thing is this. His numbers are way ahead of his career numbers in the minor leagues. So whatever adjustments that Jeremy Reed and the rest of his hitting group has made have really paid off. Fuentes lifts that one behind second. There's an out. And here's a quick word from Kia.
It's summer, so wherever you get out and go, you can count on a Kia to take you there.
Tonight at the Big A, the series and the homestand start. And so does Ohtani. And so far, so good. Not a dominant performance in terms of strikeouts.
He's used his slider a lot today. A lot more than his cutter and his split.
When he gets run support, it's pretty much a done deal. 13-1.
That's incredible when it's 2 or more. I mean, usually you'll see that if you get 4 or more runs, but 2 or more run support is, I'm sure Shohei would say, you know, I'll take 5 or 6. He's driven one of the two in himself already.
You know, there is one thing that when you look at the matchup between Ohtani and Marquez, they are both top-level starting pitchers. Marquez, obviously, in the National League, Ohtani in the American League.
That's a good pitch. It's all over the strike zone, a slider.
Ohtani has been an all-star. Marquez has been an all-star. But Marquez has something that Ohtani cannot get right now. A Silver Slugger Award. That's for the best hitting pitcher in the National League. In the American League, they don't have that award.
They don't get one as a designated hitter, though.
There you go.
And I'm pretty sure he's a front runner for that one right now. There's some good ones.
And that's look for National League pitchers. Sometimes all you got to do is hit like a .190 and maybe throw in like 4 or 5 doubles and you're in.
But it's still pretty cool to have, though.
It is. And boy, the guys that win that Silver Slugger, that's one of their proudest moments.
There's one of the few splits today for Shohei.
Nunez battling, counts 3-2.
Well, he's been able to throw that slider very, very effectively. That late break to it. Especially when he's in a count, not that first pitch slider, but when he's deeper in the count. The contact towards the end of the bat or the handle of the bat.
Three-two again to right and deep. Eaton back at the wall, and it's gone. The 6th for Nunez.
And the odd thing for Shohei Ohtani, he's now given up 7 home runs. He's given up 4 of them in the 5th inning.
And it's 2-1 now.
Like a slider that didn't quite get exactly where he wanted to throw it. It's a pretty good power from the 9th spot in your lineup. Nunez gets that one over the head of Adam Eaton and right for a home run. Just like that, Colorado only down 2-1. Good at bat overall, the entire bat for Nunez.
Tapia now. A strike at the knees.
He's got the good balance, but he just got to round the slider. It's a flat slider, and he caught it out in front and lifted it out. And if you're a hitter and you're having that kind of contact against Shohei Ohtani, you are feeling real good about yourself.
Sprayed down the line. Tapia can really run. Upton has to be careful here. Has the ball and gets it in. And he's a threat to run. 18 stolen bases.
And he let that baseball travel deep in the strike zone. With Mayfield playing well off the bag. Colorado, even though they've had a tough season overall, they've been pretty good in interleague play, 8-4.
They're 4th in the National League in stolen bases, so Bud Black does put him in motion. Tapia has been caught only 3 times. This is Rogers, second baseman, up the middle. Iglesias has it, fumbles it, bounces it, got him! That wasn't easy, but they get the out.
They're looking at that one too, just to make sure David Fletcher got to the bag, able to stay contact. This bobble on the transfer. And that's going to be close. I think there's a good chance that's going to be overturned. That's a little different angle where the foot is up in the air just enough.
Yeah, his foot didn't hit the front of the bag. It hit the top of the bag. That may save the Angels. The original call holds weight. You have to be absolutely sure to overturn. First looked like he beat it. Second looked like the foot came into the top of the base.
Yeah.
And gave the ball a few more inches into the glove. And I don't think the crowd knows either. You can hear them reacting to the scoreboard. Now there.
And the longer it takes, the better the chances are it's going to stand.
The rule is interior of the glove. When replay first was instituted, it was back of the glove. It was changed a few years ago to interior of the glove.
In that one angle, he looks like he beat it. The other angle, we're going to find out.
He's out. And my guess is the call stands.
Yeah,
it wasn't
exactly
enough to confirm or overturn.
It's just a matter, was the foot down on the base? It looked like from that one angle that the foot beat it. Shohei was thinking there's an out.
So Rogers remains, and Blackman is up, and the Rockies have lost their challenge.
They've been active already with 2 challenges already in this game, 1 for 1.
Mike Redmond's been on that phone a lot. Blackman takes up. Charlie Blackman singled in the first, bounced out in the fourth.
Been some hard-hit baseballs left field by left-handed batters against Shohei. Letting that fastball get up a little deeper and letting Shohei Ohtani provide the power and just making contact and get it through the left side of the infield.
Rogers is not a base stealer at first. And Blackman, he'll show power. He's a career .302 hitter with .360 on base and a slugging percentage right around .500. Now, half the games are at Coors Field, so that certainly helps.
Yeah, he guesses on the inner half, but he does. He can hit it a long way. Went back to another fastball, 94 and 95 from Ohtani. In the last game out there, he threw a couple nasty splitters in the 6th inning. We've only seen a couple thrown here for Shohei. 2 strikeouts in the game.
One, 2. And that one, I don't know if it crossed up Stassi. It certainly wasn't where he wanted it. His target was in. That was way out.
He overthrew this fastball.
And that's been ruled a passed ball. So tying run in scoring position, that's Rogers. Ohtani's pitch count sits at 72. Trevor Story is on deck. 2-2. Little roller up first. Walsh, tricky play, gets Blackman. Ends the inning. Rockies get 1. Dom Nunez hits it out. It's 2-1.
Kevin Millar and Stephen Nelson promise to bring you all the fun from around the league.
Pinky promise. And you know, and these can't be broken.
Intentional Talk, only on MLB Network.
How the Angels got here with all the moves they made. They have
Meet Justin Upton. He's watching MLB Network.
Again, the lineup got deeper.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
They're deep. They're deep.
Big A is always fun, but these Ohtani starts just have this electricity about it. It's becoming a big event.
Yeah, even walking in, out on the pregame set today by the Big Hats with Ken French, you can just feel the energy of the fans coming in the ballpark thinking, what are we going to see tonight? And so far, so good. Shohei Ohtani will be coming up third to try to help himself out on the offensive side. He's only up by 1 run now, 2-1.
Mayfield, Fletcher, Ohtani, 9-1-2 in the Angels order. 2 runs in that first inning. One of those runs unearned. Fletcher's hard hit ball was ruled an error. That's the one that you sometimes in about 2 weeks you get that hit in the mail. Or now they deliver the hit electronically. The league office reviews the call. Mayfield takes up. Marquez wasn't sharp in the first. Since then, he's looked a lot better. He's given up just 1 hit since that first inning. It was the Stassi 2-out double.
Good Hackett, a 2-0 pitch. He was guessing, he was getting a fastball. He was trying to hit that ball left center. There's a lot of room in left center for him.
That's popped up and out of play. Three home runs now for Mayfield. His average has, with more playing time and more at-bats, up over 200 now.
I'm going to deal with a breaking ball here. 2-2 count.
And Mayfield goes after it. 70s weekend on Friday and Saturday. Angels and Athletics. First 14,000 fans each game. Friday and Saturday get an Angels Hall of Fame tote courtesy of MLB Network. Visit angels.com/promotion. The posters were today. That was cool. You can see the tote in the photo there. And there's pressure mounting on the broadcast crew to come dressed in 70s garb. Many fans, once they heard Mark Gubas's aversion to disco, are demanding a Barry Gibb outfit. White sport coat, big gold medal. Fletch to left. Tapia can run, and he runs it down.
Yeah, that's a lot of coverage out of left field. Tapia, I thought the bat, that's at least a double for Fletch.
And now here's Ohtani. typical for a starting pitcher, and you made a lot of starts in the major leagues, is the 10 to 12 minutes that you get sitting on the bench during the next half inning, because he obviously doesn't get that.
I think it really all depends on how well you're throwing on the mound. And when you're dealing, you don't care how long it is. You could be a minute, 2 minutes. You could have to come up there and have 4 swings and make 3 outs, and you want to get back out there. Now, when you have a tough inning like he had, you would like some more time, but then here you are swinging the bat in that same time where you're trying to be able to catch your breath after a lot of pitches thrown in the 5th and a lot of stress on you.
Well, he's taken 2 pitches. Counts 1-1. Marquez has had no-hit stuff on many nights this year. In fact, he nearly had a no-hitter against the Pirates when fouled off. He got into the 9th inning, allowed a leadoff single, the 3rd longest no-hit bid in franchise history, behind Ubaldo Jimenez, who threw a no-hitter, and Kyle Freeland, who threw 8 1/3 no-hit innings. And that was at Coors Field, and that's something. Ohtani sharply on the ground. Rogers on to first. That's a quick inning in the 5th. On to the 6th at the Big A. 2-1. Angels baseball on Bally Sports is brought to you by your Southern California Chevy dealers. Ohtani night, opening night homestand, and a 3-gamer with the Colorado Rockies to start things. It's good to see Trevor Story coming up, because in the 4th inning,
I'm really just shocked that he's still in the game after being hit like that. It took a while for Trevor to make it down the first base, and Shohei Ohtani apologizing to him after the last out of that inning.
We saw when Story came in, grab a bat, check with his manager, and he went down in the tunnel. I'm sure he was taking swings in the cage or against a tee and a screen. And so here he is, and you know, he's the focus of a lot of trade rumors, and I'm sure a lot of phone calls from other general managers to the Rockies.
And you had a feeling he was going to be swinging early, and he swings at a cut fastball.
See how
shatters his bat.
So he needs a new bat.
This is cutter towards the end of the bat. part of that barrel of the bat's going flying. I could use that bat in stickball back in the schoolyard back in the day.
I was about to say that's more paddle than bat at this point. Story certainly is an intriguing guy in terms of power production from a very good defensive shortstop. Oh, 1.
There's been some discussion about him potentially playing center field. A couple clubs are inquiring about him. Thinking he's one of the premier shortstops in the game.
That club better have a good shortstop.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That can't feel good when you extend like that and you're stopping that swing with that left hand.
Yeah, you can see him just tightening up his batting gloves. The first pitch, too, break a bat towards the end of the bat. So that's going to hurt a little bit. And then that swing there on a slider. Imagine he goes back to a slider, and you got to be ready if you're Fletch or Walsh on the right side.
Do you use that if you're a pitcher? In the next at bat, if you know a guy has a hand that's stinging?
Yes, because you're trying to run it towards the end of the bat as much as possible, because you know as a hitter, when you get hit like that, you're going to be up there looking to do damage middle in, and then try to turn on it. Otherwise, at the end of the bat, that's the one that's going to sting on you.
Pitch number 78 for Ohtani. The 2-2 to Story. That's hit high and deep. Upton, track, makes the catch.
Wow, Shohei he thought that Story got it.
That was a mammoth fly ball out.
I'm thinking that's a home run in almost every ballpark.
Well, Fenway for sure.
Colorado for sure.
Yes.
I know Houston, it's way out. Just to get back to the wall, and then has to adjust to go run over and get that in left center.
I think the left hand is okay. That's a pretty good swing. Statcast tells us 13 different parts would not have held that baseball.
That's how tough he is. That's a pretty good swing. After being hit right on top of the hand. You still see him gripping that hand.
C.J. Cron's 0 for 2. Ohtani, splitter.
That's a nasty splitter. That's the one we saw last game in the 6th inning, and all of a sudden he's got a feel for that.
He only threw it, I believe, 7% of the time his last start.
And that seemed to be in the 6th inning when he started throwing it. Yeah. Looks like he tried another one.
He's almost like an offensive coordinator in football, right? All right, we're going to run this play, and we're going to run this play a few times in the first half to set up this play later. And then once we get deep in the game, we're going to break out this.
You mentioned that 7%, 11% splitters today. The creativity of Shohei Ohtani.
Softly hit. Mayfield's there.
And Shohei Ohtani's been successful with his fastball. Let's take a look at our play sense. Presented by Frontier with his fastball and what he's been able to get on the ground. 96-mile-an-hour fastball, 97-mile-an-hour fastball on the ground. Late move at 96 again against all these left-handed batters. A little bit late, soft contact versus Shohei Ohtani's fastball against the lefties today. The creativity getting outs on the ground today. Just 2 strikeouts. It's a ground ball action for Shohei Ohtani, now 5 2/3.
In Japan, the progression to professional baseball is a little shorter than in the United States. And Ohtani opened eyes as a high schooler at the Koshin high school tournament. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, about that big high school tournament. He blew 101 as a high school senior. And all of a sudden, everyone said, not only is he ready for Japanese professional baseball, but there were major league teams that saw that and all of a sudden said, hey, you don't need to play in Japan. Come join us now. And he really considered signing with a major league organization right out of high school in Japan.
101 in high school.
101. And that tournament is the equivalent of like the NCAA basketball tournament in the States. Everybody watches in Japan. Roller up the first baseline, foul.
The only high school kid I saw throwing that hard. I saw Garrett Cole when he was at Orange Lutheran. He threw it really hard. But Lucas Giolito at Harvard Westlake was 99 to 100. His senior year, big guy didn't have hurt his elbow. But that's incredible. If you're a high school kid trying to deal with 100, 101 mile an hour fastball, like, wow.
Won an MVP, as you see there, in Japan.
And after win at 97, he's had some pretty good movement on his fastball today.
His fastball has lived at 94, 95 most of the game.
And he gave up a hit on a 99.
Yeah.
He's got 7 ground ball outs tonight.
Swing and a miss. And a strikeout. Finishes the Rockies in the 6th. It's a 1-run game. Angels on top. Time now for our Play Sense presented by Frontier. Lowest ERA starting pitchers. How about the Angels in the month of July?
And everyone's really pitched in and throwing the ball exceptionally well. And by Patrick Sandoval, near no-hitter, going 8 2/3, 3.26. Only the Yankees better 2.65. Astros, Jays, Athletics.
It's not just Sandoval. I mean, Barria was incredible yesterday. 7 innings, gave up the 2 runs. Sandoval, of course, the near no-hitter. Alex Cobb, 5 innings, an earned run. Andrew Heaney went 7 innings, gave up just 2 runs. Last time through the rotation, just splendid.
So far, a really solid 6 innings for Shohei Ohtani, although it's been a battle for him today. No walks, 3 punch-outs, 87 pitches, but it's been a taxing 87 pitches. That's where sometimes we look at pitch counts. You could be cruising along 110. But this 87 for Shohei, in my opinion, today has been taxing for him. He's had to work every pitch he's thrown.
Upton a high pop-up. Pitching coaches and managers will use a variety of means, and all of them combined. They'll watch, keep a close eye on velocity if it drops. They'll talk to the catcher about the stuff, is it still sharp? But just what you said, the stressful innings, if the stressful innings add up, that's a difference maker in a decision to take a guy out or leave him in.
And even that last strikeout, he got on a swing, on a splitter to Hilliard. That was not the typical splitter for Shohei Ohtani.
This was a nasty pitch by Marquez.
See why he's averaging between his slider and his curveball whiff percentage of over 43%.
Jared Walsh, RBI single in the first and tapped out to the mound in the third.
When you go back even to the first inning where Marquez gave up those runs, nothing was hit hard. I mean, everything just found a hole into the outfield, through the infield, including an RBI single for Shohei. Same thing with Iglesias and Walsh getting their hits.
Since that first inning, just one hit for the Angels. Max Stassi's fourth inning 2-out double.
And then 5 strikeouts along the route too.
That's outside corner. We've talked about this homestand, and hey, Rockies are here, Oakland's coming up, 70s weekend. This is a huge week for the Angels. They have momentum coming out of Minnesota, having won 3 of 4. They've got the Rockies, a team that has really struggled on the road. They've got Oakland coming in. Oakland is not playing well right now, and Oakland's the team that everybody's chasing in the wild card. And the Angels have pulled within 5.5 games of that wild card lead. They do have 4 teams to leap over.
Seattle beat Oakland, what, 3 times, 3 to 4 game series by 1 run. So that bullpen's still been so good.
That's dropping the barrel and a solid hit to right. It's a Walsh with a 1-out hit. And after the homestand, the Angels go to Texas for 4 games, and the Rangers are not having a great year.
No, they're really, really struggling. Then you got to deal with the Dodgers after that. And you see that swing by Walsh. He's happy about that one. For me right now, if I'm Joe Madden, I'm going to try to create a run here by having Walsh on the move.
If you do that, you have the perfect guy at the plate in Iglesias.
And you have a guy on the mound that gets a ton of ground ball double plays, so 14 of them turn behind him. So you're more apt to put a man in motion and trust Iglesias to make contact, especially the right side.
Walsh had a minuscule lead there, indicating that maybe he's not on the move.
Well, we saw earlier they were on the move, but I think on a 1-0 count gives him a chance. Bruce Hines went over and talked to Walsh right now. See if you get a little bigger lead. On a hit and run, you don't have to be a huge lead. You just got to hope there's contact.
And Iglesias thinking bunt brings Fuentes in from third. Butterfield running through the signs. Let's see if the lead increases. Counts 2-0.
Well, if there's ever a count where through the years with the Angels, a 2-1 count with 1 out. Bud Black remembers that one well. You might even see a throw over the first base.
Just a short hop from the bag was Walsh.
Bud Black said, I remember that count all the time when I was a coach over here.
Outfield towards right center. And Iglesias swings and misses. Jeremy Reed talking about Iglesias in 2 strikes. The skill that helps him the most is that he lets the ball travel a little bit longer with 2 strikes. And that one got by him. Iglesias goes down.
Well, that doesn't happen too often against Iglesias on a breaking ball. He will swing. He's up there hacking even with 2 strikes, but he makes pretty good contact on breaking pitches.
Now Marsh, who has struck out and flied out. By the way, Oakland is not in action tonight. They are in San Diego next. That ball's in the gap. Left center field. Hilliard after it. Walsh around second. Ball is dropped. Walsh arrives at third. And that is a sweet spot for Marsh. That left center gap. He's been all over that.
I still go back to Jarrett Walsh. Just seeing him going down the first base line is Brandon Marsh with a real good swing left center field. A little bit of a bobble out left center field allows both runners to get in scoring position.
This is a good guy to have up if you're the Angels. He's one of the hottest hitters the Angels have. Stassi yesterday coming a double shy of the cycle, and he's got a double tonight.
You have a pitcher that throws a lot of breaking balls, so this is going to be important if somehow, some way that Jared Walsh gets a good secondary lead if he throws one of these breaking balls in the dirt.
You know, Walsh was not running that well. We just saw it. And this is a bit of a grimace when he arrived. Something to keep an eye on. Yeah, that does not look good.
That's why I thought there were not a hit and run even put on, because he didn't really have a big lead at all at first.
When you have a catcher who receives and throws as well as Stassi does, who's hitting .299 with a .377 on base and a .526 slug, you really have something.
And using that big part of the field approach, especially with runners in scoring position, not pull mode, up the middle, on the line. Right now, you're talking about 84% of the time on this count against a right-handed batter, this will be some sort of breaking ball, whether it's a curve or slider. See how much of a secondary lead Walsh will be able to get at third in case something's in the dirt.
Got great speed at second. Strike 3 called. Ball off the plate. Greg Gibson rings up Stassi. That conversation will continue in a moment.
Nerds. Have new money goals? NerdWallet can help you find the credit card to make them happen. Want to earn enough points for a weekend of fancy camping? We have options for that. Maybe have a better credit card than your older sister. We have comparison tools for that. Or find a card that lets you donate your cash back to food banks. We have tips for that too. From low rates to the best rewards, easily discover and compare the smartest credit cards. For all your money questions, turn to the nerds.
Behold the Tree Dasher by Allbirds. The planet's first proper running shoe, made from natural materials like, well, trees. Mile after mile after mile. The Tree Dasher keeps your feet going while reducing your carbon footprint. Break a sweat, not the planet. Allbirds.
overpowering on the mound, just very effective. Not overpowering at the plate, but he knocked home a run with a ground ball single. And it's a 2-1 game. Shohei Ohtani into the 7th against the Colorado Rockies. Bottom third of the order, Connor Joe, Joshua Fuentes, and Dom Nunez, who homered in the 9th spot for the only run for the Rockies, and Ohtani misses low.
And 2 of these 3 hitters have had some pretty good contact against Shohei tonight. Pretty good take on a cut fastball, just a little below the strike zone.
Lots of calisthenics, but nobody throwing in the Angels bullpen. Guys getting ready to.
That's good slider or cutter.
Part of what attracted Ohtani to stay in Japan after that great high school tournament was teams telling him he could do both. We'll let you pitch, we'll let you hit. And that really attracted him. And I don't know that major league teams, when he was 18, were ready to make that commitment.
Yeah, that would be pretty tough to do that. You see some guys in college doing both, and you're having an opportunity to do it, but not out of high school. Got around that slider. Cutter to the pitch before was a tight one. Big pitch here now for Shohei.
Three-two. Got him. 4th strikeout.
Well, that was a nasty slider. Great quick adjustment by Ohtani. The pitch before, got underneath it, elevated, stays on top. It's a great angle to see how tight that slider is. As a hitter, you're coming to think it's in the outside part of the plate, then that downward drop on a slider, tight for a swing and miss.
I think what makes this so much fun for the fans, for his teammates, even for Ohtani, is that this is uncharted waters. There's no blueprint for this. And I think he has the perfect manager for this. A guy who is as progressive and has been progressive throughout his career first as a coach here with the Angels. He was always on the cutting edge. Then certainly with the Rays and the Cubs. He's the perfect guy, I think, for Ohtani to manage this.
And allow the communication to make decisions on what to do with him as far as giving an extra day, as far as pitching, if he can play in DH role the next day, all those things into play because of communication.
Not hit that well. Marsh covers a lot of ground. And there's 2 outs here in the 7th. If you're looking ahead and saying, well, all right, he's having a great year, but where's he going to end up? This is the two-way projection for a 162-game season. The home runs and the RBIs are eye-popping, extra base hits. Strikeouts 157 in about 121 innings.
I mean, that for me is phenomenal, and anybody that's ever taken the mound and going out there and driving towards the plate like he does, using that lower half, be able to come back and swing the bat that game and during the game and even the next day is unbelievable. Boy, Nunez has some really good swings against him. Even before the home run, he fouled his fastball straight back just like that. And that fastball was 99.
He was the #1 catcher for the Rockies when the season started, and Elias Diaz was kind of the backup who played every 3 or 4 days. That's flipped because Diaz's offensive game has kicked into gear, and Nunez has not had a great offensive season. But he homered on what would you call it, a flat slider?
Yeah. And that's a splitter there. That's a couple splitters now over the last couple of innings that haven't quite got where he wanted to.
Angels pen Finally in action.
Andrew wants down there.
At the letters.
It's still a dangerous slider to him. Remember, that was just a little bit out over the plate. For Shohei, it's your best pitch of the night right now.
What's been his best pitch tonight?
You know what? I still, my bread and butter, just like Sandoval changeup, I try to split.
1-2. Fastball.
100.
And 1-2-3 go the Rockies.
He is not human. He
In the
is not
seventh.
human. 100-mile-an-hour fastball? Are you kidding me?
That's his best pitch tonight.
Nerds. Have new money goals? NerdWallet can help you find the mortgage lender to make them happen. Like getting a low rate on a downtown loft? We can help find the right lender. Or move out of the city since you're virtual now? We can find you loans for that. Want to refinance your home, free up cash, and redo your kitchen/home office? Yup, we've got tips for that too. Whether you refi or buy, easily discover and compare the smartest mortgage lenders. For all your money questions, turn to the nerds.
A lot can happen with a simple tell your story. Get people excited. To get connected, to share, and sell anywhere, just and start making a different future. Start different at GoDaddy.com.
Shohei Ohtani, 7 strong innings, and his manager with a handshake, but it may be handshake and are you ready to go into right field? Time now for our Land Rover Above and Beyond.
On pitch number 99, here that sequence against Nunez, who hit a home run against me. He fouled that fastball at 99 straight back. He was on it. And then he tried a cutter away, foul back with a good slider to get back ahead of the count at 84. Then fastball at 100 on pitch number 99 for Shohei Ohtani.
Adam Eaton, Jack Mayfield, David Fletcher.
He is not of this planet. He is not of this planet.
And you know, you gotta just watching that sequence, it just felt like he knew he was done and he was emptying the tank. Like, you know what, I got 100 in me, let's bring it out.
Just for fun, you know, he threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in that one inning pitched in Colorado, in Denver, in the All-Star game. He goes, you know what, my last pitch of this night, more than likely, at 100.
Eaton lines it foul. This has been a fun game, and for this reason. These are two elite pitchers. Marquez an all-star, Ohtani an all-star. I don't think neither has had their best stuff tonight. They've had to really pitch in and around some situations, and it's a 2-1 game.
I mean, this is fun to watch. I mean, this is really, it's pitchers being creative, making pitches when you need them. Marquez thinking, you know what, I'm going to try to run it up there. That was at 95. Still amazed though, pitch number 99, his hardest pitch of the game at 100. That's Justin Verlander-like going later in the game, picking up that velocity on a fastball.
Marquez has 8 strikeouts. Ohtani, 5. The lefty Quintana getting ready. Eaton dances out of the way. Full count, 3-2. His bottom of the order was really good in Minnesota. Eaton had some big hits. Mayfield certainly did. Stassi, who's in the 7th spot, sparkled. Over the middle. Rogers off the bag, safe. Eaton turned into the baseline, but I don't think he made an attempt to go to second. Crone tagged him.
It was worth a try for C.J. Crone. No more challenges now.
You can turn inside as long as you don't make a step or a motion towards the bag.
I mean, that was more just turn around and get right back to the base. And Bud Black wants to make sure.
That's a reviewable. Well, look.
You've already had your challenges.
Yes, they've lost.
Well, you can ask the umpire, but I'll tell you what, I'm not so sure he actually beat that out.
I think he did. Bud Black is out to suggest, you know, it'd be really nice if you'd review that. I don't have a challenge, but I think it was really close. And I think it would be worth your time, Greg Gibson.
You can take a little breather. It's a little warm night. See the stretch.
Foot. Oh, boy.
That's as close. I mean, he's been involved in a couple really, really close plays already at first base.
It got to the interior of the glove. And he... I don't think you could overturn that even if you were able to challenge it. As it is, Eaton survives at first. Mayfield's at the plate.
Marquez with a really, really quick move to first. His footwork is fantastic. He's got 3 career pickoffs. Not easy to steal against. He's allowed 5 stolen bases in 7 attempts for a pitcher with a lot of innings pitched. That's a low amount of stolen base attempts against as a right-handed pitcher. Shohei Ohtani very good himself. There's 4 attempts against him and 2 successful ones. So you have 2 pitchers that do everything well on the mound.
For right-handers, you hear pitching coaches and first base coaches who are instructing their runners, the feet are the key to that quick move. With lefties, it's completely different. It's deception.
Yeah, there's a couple key components in the move: the quick footwork and the shorter throwing motion. Sometimes if a pitcher's a longer throwing motion, at the home they'll have a longer throwing motion. At first, you try to shorten that up as quick as possible. Think almost like you're playing darts as a right-handed pitcher. A quick, short throw to first. It's all about footwork to start with.
Are pitchers born with that, or can you learn that skill?
You could definitely teach that. Definitely do. Believe me, you can teach that one. What you do is just practice on flat ground work. You'll see a lot of pitchers do that. Just the footwork and throw it. Even Shohei Ohtani, when he's warming up, you'll notice even with the weighted baseballs, he'll have that shorter throwing motion for that reason alone.
Mayfield banged that one off his foot.
Well, both corner infielders for the Angels in the last inning plus. Ooh, Reds rated your ankle.
Yeah. And long gone are the days of baseball spikes, cleats being sturdy enough to take a blow like that. They're just as light as the tennis shoes you're wearing.
Well, that should be quicker running.
Yes. Mayfield slowly putting weight on that left foot. He's been indispensable. I mean, you know, Joe Madden stuck him in the lineup because he said he's his best option defensively. And lo and behold, he has started to hit and have some big homers. And he's just been lights out defensively. I mean, if you watched that Minnesota series, it's a lot like on YouTube if you Google Brooks Robinson and I want to say the 71 World Series or 70 World Series.
That Cincinnati?
Where he dominated.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Mayfield's Brooks Robinson, but it's similar in that whole series was to his right, diving on his feet, starting a double play, diving, throwing across the diamond.
I was talking to Brian Butterfield today about that, and Josh Donaldson, he was looking at, he was laughing at him. He goes, well, he hasn't really been able to hit a whole lot, so he better be able to make some defensive plays. And then all of a sudden, as he started swinging the bat, he looked over at Josh Donaldson. He goes, well, yeah, now he's swinging the bat too, along with his defense. And he just started laughing at him because Donaldson had some problems with him trying to get a baseball by him, and he couldn't.
That throw to first gives Mayfield a little more time to get feeling back in the foot. Eaton on with an infield hit. Bottom 7 here at the Big A. First of 3 against the Rockies, and a great opportunity for the Angels.
Very important for Eaton getting on base and make sure you try to prevent a double play. It gives Shohei Ohtani to swing the bat in this inning. Or at least get to the plate, depending on what Black will challenge and actually pitch to him. We saw that yesterday where the fans even in Minnesota were booing when they walked him.
Count 1 and 2. This is the good part of the lineup to get something rolling with Mayfield. And then you've got another elite contact guy in David Fletcher to follow. Then you're into the teeth of the order with Ohtani, Upton, and Walsh. One, two. Hit a ton, but foul.
Oh, do you think you were going to get a foul ball there tonight?
No, but you never know. Rockies bullpen, that's not been a strength of this team this year. Starting pitching has been. And you're looking at the guy that's been the best right there. Mayfield, left field, down the line, carrying, and gone! Just got out! 2-run shots! Jack Mayfield again!
Captain, oh Captain Jack! Going yard. Foul the ball off your foot. You know the best way to make sure that doesn't bother you anymore is go yard and then jog. What a game stretch for Captain Jack Mayfield. Wow, 2-run home run. What a huge at bat. Those add-on runs. A slider that backed up, very similar to the slider Shohei. Both pitchers make a mistake with a breaking ball, and Jack Mayfield. All of a sudden, that foot feels a little bit better.
Now Fletcher. Jack Mayfield. When he hit it, he watched it, and he knew he had to nurse it over, just over the short wall, down the line, in the corner. 1-1.
I mean, when you put it in perspective, now it's his 4th home run. His career best. I mean, 2 career home runs coming into the season. 4 this year.
Well, put this in perspective.
And the battles to get here.
In 8 months, 4 different organizations, 3 different heartbreaks when released and then claimed. The one that really stung was when the Angels let him go the first time, because he really enjoyed the clubhouse during spring training and just those 2 months. He said, man, I connected with my teammates and I was heartbroken. On the ground, and Fletcher is out. But lo and behold,
it's incredible, this story.
The Angels, when the Mariners, you know, had him in the big leagues, didn't protect him. Angels claimed him. Madden liked him, and Joe's instincts were correct, right?
And just talking with Joe today on the pregame show about Jack Mayfield, everything about it has brought a smile on his face, how much he's worked to get here in his glove. And he says right now he's feeling it, swinging the bat.
iPad's out for Ohtani. That means bullpen action. Marquez on his way out. And it's Jack Mayfield from the 9 spot that knocks the All-Star out. And the Angels have stretched the lead.
A lot can happen with a simple tell your story. Get people excited. To get connected, to share, and sell anywhere, and start making a different future. Start different at GoDaddy.com.
Mike Trout. People know he's one of the greatest players this game's ever seen.
Meet Mike Trout.
Can run.
He's watching MLB Network.
He's one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
And he's also got tremendous show hair with his hat off.
Hey, Harold, how do you prepare for a big show?
Well, I just try to stay positive. Take it one show at a time and treat it just like any other show.
How do you feel about the other analysts you work with?
It's a great group of guys. We're all on the same page. I'm just happy to be here.
What's your prediction for the season?
We'll see what happens. It all comes down to execution in the studio.
The pro player answers. He's still got it.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions on MLB Network.
You want that home run feeling? Then step in the box and let it rip. Get ready for the Major League Baseball Junior Home Run Derby, powered by MLB Develops. Compete locally and swing your way to the 2021 Junior Home Run Derby Finals. Sign up for free at jrhrd.com.
It's brought to you by Hyundai. See your Southern California Hyundai dealer today, because the longer you look at the new Hyundai, the more there is to like. By Jack in the Box, our $6.99 triple bacon cheesy Jack combo is here, only at Jack in the Box. And by your Southern California Cadillac dealers. Shohei Ohtani splendid on the mound. Jack Mayfield a hero again. And the Angels have stretched their lead to 4-1 and knocked out German Marquez, the all-star right-hander for the Rockies. Ben Bowden out of the bullpen for Colorado. And you can see his ERA is somewhat emblematic of the bullpen struggles for Bud Black.
His fastball has a little bit of slight little tail to it. 90-94 slider changeup. The first pitch fastball is lefties. Shohei. Maybe you're looking first pitch fastball here.
A dozen homers, a dozen of the 35 homers against lefties. That was not in, but it was up. Breaking ball misses high. And it's 2-0.
The chance.
Outside corner. And it's 2-1. It's hard to imagine anybody else being more valuable than this.
No, it's impossible.
It would be like a football player leading your team in rushing at the NFL level and then leading your defense in tackling.
It's like trying to get Tom Brady to go play some defensive back.
Right. Your best scorer in hockey, when you really need him, throws the pads on and is a stone-cold goaltender, right?
You go for the shootout, put him in behind.
Right, the shootout. Hey, get the pads on, you're in. 3-1.
I still don't know how you can swing that hard after pitching 7 innings. That's the thing that's incredible.
Ohtani is 27. 3-2 coming. Well, he let her rip. And Bowden wins that one.
Rich, I'm telling you, as a pitcher, when you face somebody like Shohei Ohtani, you amp it up to that next gear, because that is a challenge amongst all challenges.
When you were 27 and pitching in the major leagues, Mark Kubaza, how long did it take your body to recover from a 100-pitch start?
And that next day, I was just happy to be able to go out and do my exercise. I couldn't even imagine swinging a bat. I mean, your lower part of your body's sore, your ribs are sore, your shoulder, obviously, and your elbow are sore from throwing those pitches. But just the fatigue, the mental fatigue, and still to see him, I'm sure he's going up to Joe tomorrow or even after the game. Hey, I'm ready to go tomorrow as the designated hitter. It's incredible. I mean, he didn't necessarily have his best stuff today, although he threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball on his 99th pitch of the night. But there were some pretty good battles. There were some good at-bats by some of the Rockies hitters against Shohei. They battled him, but he made the pitch like he normally does in those key spots where when he knows he got to go to that next level, he has that to get to that next level.
Upton takes high. Justin lined out back in the first. He has struck out twice since. Little ball in the first inning for the Angels. Big ball with Jack Mayfield again in the seventh. 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the seventh. And a chance to start this homestand and start this series with a win and keep the momentum from Minnesota. Phil Goslin is on deck. Now, earlier in the game, Jared Walsh, when running, grimaced, was not running well, and he was holding, it looked like his side.
Well, even when he got that hit, he was running down the baseline, holding on to the bat all the way down the line before he let it go.
It was an awkward swing. Remember, he was extended and had to bring the bat back down, hit it hard, lined it out to right field for a hit. We invite you to stick around. Kent French will be joined by my good friend, Mark Kubaza. Jose Mota will be here as well on Angels Live. And we get post-game reaction. Hear Joe Madden and maybe an update on Jared Walsh. Captain Jack might stop by.
Oh, yes. It's mandatory.
Upton, left field, down that same line, in that same corner, and foul. No amount of body language is going to get that fair.
No, he's trying to keep it fair.
Oh.
And the reaction for Upton.
Got him. Fastball. Our Arco top tier play. Jack Mayfield. Captain Jack will get you high tonight. Again.
Mike Trout. People know he's one of the greatest players this game's ever seen.
Meet Mike Trout.
Can run.
He's watching MLB Network.
He's one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
And he's also got tremendous show hair with his hat off.
Kevin Millar and Stephen Nelson promise to bring you all the fun from around the league.
Pinky promise. And you know, and these can't be broken.
Intentional Talk, only on MLB Network.
stretch with MLB Moonblast's Pick'em presented by FTX, and compete to win $100,000 worth of Bitcoin or cash. Restrictions apply. See rules and enter at MLB.com/Pick'em. All right, play along with us. You can play along with us on Moonblast, but you can also play along with Who's In Now. And Jose Quintana, last 2 games in relief, good. 3 2/3. Has not given up an earned run. Hasn't walked anybody. And has punched out 4. But also joining the show, please welcome Phil Goslin. Ever versatile. Got his first base glove out. He can play a lot of places. And special guest appearance by Juan Lagares in left field. Joe Madden with this 4-1 lead obviously doesn't need to keep Shohei Ohtani around for another at bat, and can put his best defenders out there, though I think Goslin is out there because of a apparent discomfort. You want to call it an injury. We don't know exactly what it was, but certainly something was bothering Jared Walsh. Top of the order Rockies. Tapia, Rogers, Blackman.
And the interesting thing, I was talking to Phil Goslin before the game. He said, I got to be ready with Shohei Ohtani on the mound, and you don't have the designated hitter. It's almost like a National League game, so I got to be ready with a number of different gloves. And here he is with his first base mitt tonight.
Every team should have a Phil Goslin, right? Who is a professional hitter. He's had to hit righties this year, and he's hit lefties. We know that. He's played in the outfield. He's played in the infield. First base. Quintana getting the top of the order. Ohtani went 7. And remember what we talked about the outset of the telecast. Ohtani in this ballpark is almost bulletproof. His ERA under 2, and it's going to drop here. The 1 run was earned in his 7 innings. Softy on the ground. Iglesias. That's nice. And now a quick word from Jack in the Box.
With triple the beef, triple the cheese, and triple the bacon. My $6.99 triple bacon cheesy.com only at Jack in the Box.
Angels bullpen is in.
By the way, that was a difficult play to spin on that baseball over to Iglesias. And right away, Phil Goslin had to go out and stretch. Not quite that flexible stretch we see from Jared Walsh at first base, but nice play by Goslin on the first out of the inning.
I have a theory, but I'd like to hear you, and because you're obviously way further advanced than I am in this stuff when it comes to pitching. Why is Ohtani better at home, so much better, with an ERA well under 2 in his 9 starts? That's a strike to Rogers.
Well, a lot of it has to do with comfort. He has his routine. He knows how many pitches he can throw and get into the dugout, take a breather when he's on the road, especially now that he's been hitting on the road. He's taking the swings, getting his throw, and he's got to run in there, and he's got to swing the bat right away at the top of the first, which is different for him.
This is Marsh going back and looking up, and Brendan Rodgers has hit it out. And the Rockies get one of those runs back here. His 6th home run. This guy's been one of the top prospects for the Rockies for the last few years, and the power is starting to come at the big league level.
Yeah, that's impressive power to hit the ball that far the other way.
That boy, Rod!
He went back and just got that pitch out over the plate, and he knew it. The 8th home run allowed by Jose Quintana. He's been great, though, against lefties. Quintana got the first out of lefty. Lefty here, 163 batting average against him. And just slugging 245 left-handed batters against Quintana.
He's kind of got that Rockies mullet thing going too.
Got a little Billy Ray Cyrus look going there, doesn't he?
Yes. Well, look, there are a lot of people that have bombarded me with the Captain Jack because I've made a reference. In fact, on that Toss to Break was a reference to the Billy Joel song, Captain Jack. But, I mean, if you go, up Catella and you run into Disneyland, you might run into Captain Jack there, Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
That's Matt Adams. They got a little bit of everything. And that was Charlie Blackmon. He got a lot of that pitch and lines a bullet by Quintana into center field. And Quintana's not fooling anybody right now. Those are two balls that were really barreled up.
And that's just a sweet swing there by Charlie Blackmon right back up the middle.
That's scary.
Yeah.
And Joe Madden comes to get the baseball. Steve Cishek out of the pen. Angels up 4-2 in the 8th.
A 7-game homestand. You found me. Shohei Ohtani in the game. He found some different release points and different pitches as the game progressed. Did outstanding for 7 innings. Jack Mayfield, he found one. That breaking ball that stayed over the inner half, and he hit a 2-run home run. So far, enough for the Halos as Steve Cishek comes in the game trying to protect a 4-2 lead. And he's been really, really good when he's been able to come in a game with no base runners. But here's an opportunity now to turn that around and see if we get a ground ball double play with a runner on.
Cishek yesterday afternoon in Minnesota pitched a clean, well, almost clean 8th inning. Breaking ball is a strike. Struck out 2. Didn't give up a hit. Didn't give up a run. He did walk a batter. And I talked to him before the game, and he said his key yesterday, he felt good, and he was able to spot that fastball where he wanted it, command the fastball, which sets up that frisbee slider. Because when he gets 91 in that, look at the arc on that pitch. You know, that the vapor trail that we've got on pitch tracks. It's almost inside out. It starts outer half of the plate and it dives down inside.
Yeah, a lot of his fastballs have laid him in that rising fastball up and away. Story's rolling into 5 double plays.
Got Blackmon at first. Rogers is homered. The Rockies within 2.
Yeah, there's that 91-mile-an-hour fastball, up and away one.
You got another big bopper on deck in C.J. Cron. There's one out here. Buries it in, so he missed out, and he's missed in with the fastball. And the count's 3-2.
Trevor Story knew he was beating on that fastball away too. He's just hoping it wasn't called because it was right on the corner at the knees. Big strikeout for Cishek. He brings that two-seamer back and catches the corner.
That's the vapor trail I was talking about. When he brings that pitch back, it's just it's an arc you're not used to seeing as a hitter.
And as a hitter, you're giving up because you think that's a ball, and then bring it back like that.
There's a strike to C.J. Cron. I don't know if vapor trail is the official word for that, though, on our pitch tracks. I'm sure there's a technical name for that. I like vapor. I went with vapor trail.
I like it. Well, he ran that one right in just with that vapor trail in off the plate.
Thank you. Thank you. Your affirmation from Gooby. Counts 0-2. Still a guy that if you make a mistake can hit it a mile.
But also a guy that you can get chased well out of the strike zone. So time to throw a non-strike.
Fastball, fly ball, right field corner, eaten back, and it bounces into the seats. That may cost the Rockies a run. Blackman has to stop at third. And Cron just reached out and drove that ball to the opposite field.
That's one of those times where I go back to no need to throw a strike. You throw a fastball there, and Cron is so strong. He just maybe made contact. And a ground roll double.
So, with Blackman now at third base and Cron at second, Rockies with a hit here could tie it up. Cishek facing Sam Hilliard, who's 1 for 3. One and one. 7 innings of Shohei Ohtani. Just a run. Rockies have scored. Brendan Rodgers homering against Jose Quintana. Cishek. Right center field and deep. Marsh. Track. Wall. Got it. Woo!
Under control for the youngster out there. Everyone on their seat standing up.
Who's the rookie here? 4-2 still.
Mike Trout. People know he's one of the greatest players this game's ever seen.
Meet Mike Trout.
Can run.
He's watching MLB Network.
He's one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
And he's also got tremendous show hair with his hat off.
For 25 years,
nice throw.
Major League Baseball and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America
That's beautiful.
have teamed up to guide kids through the first tries.
It's all good, Aaron.
The curveballs.
There you go.
And the big dreams, setting them up to make great plays on and off the field. celebrating 25 years of building brighter futures together.
Everybody was holding their breath. Brandon Marsh, cool and calm. He's been in the big leagues for all of, what, a week and a half? 2 weeks? That looked like a 3-run shot in a Rockies lead.
Brandon Marsh, because I got that no problem.
I know. It's just, no worry. I got it. Justin Lawrence comes out of the pen for the Rockies. He's got Phil Gosselin, and then Jose Iglesias, and then Marsh. Angels Live, appointment viewing tonight, certainly for the Ohtani highlights, but also for an update on Jared Walsh, who had 2 hits but left the game after grimacing and holding his side. Gosselin takes a fastball for a strike. Gosselin hits a high pop. Charlie Blackmon there. Rogers out. And he lets the second baseman take it. They compare hair, and there's one out. All right, quick word now from Hyundai.
Hey, it's your journey. Own it.
At the Big 8 tonight, the Shohei Ohtani start. That went well. 7 innings, just a run. Early runs for the Angels. They got 2. That was in the first. Jack Mayfield is homered again. A 2-run shot. That was in the 7th. And the Rockies darn near took the lead on about a 390-foot fly ball to the wall in right center. Iglesias 1 for 3. The A's today added a bullpen arm, Andrew Chafin, from the Cubs.
There was talk about Kimbrel being traded.
Into left field, that's a base hit. Iglesias guided that one right through.
That was another base hit on a slider, breaking ball.
The Nationals today said they're listening on everybody but Soto, including Max Scherzer. How many different uniforms did you see Scherzer photoshopped into today? I mean, I saw him as a Dodger. I think I may have seen him as a Giant.
I mean, he's a phenomenal pitcher, and he's the guy you know, any organization would want as your #1 guy. A guy in game 1 of a playoff series, or a guy to get you into the playoffs.
Here's Marsh now. Smacked a double in the 6th to left center. Outfield has him played that way. He had a big hit to right center yesterday in Minnesota.
A little late add-on runs where you're hoping to get right here now. Because Colorado, to their credit, has battled back in and men in scoring position. And the last long fly ball out.
Really good news in the farm system. Reed Detmer's promoted to AAA. The Louisville lefty was terrific. Punched out 9 in his AAA debut. And Hector Yan, the High A West pitcher of the week.
Congratulations on that one. Both in the Futures game in Colorado.
And this is Joe Adell, and that's number 20 on the season.
Well, anytime you see Joe Adell crushing a ball right center like that, that is a great look and great swing for Joe. That looked like Taylor Ward scoring ahead of Joe Adell.
Three and one. Marsh now has 3 doubles. He's the type of guy that could go off as his career advances for like a 40 double season with his speed and the swing
and his knowledge of the strike zone.
And he walks, and you know what? He got that call back. Remember, he was called out on strikes on a pitch that was just out of the zone. That caught the strike zone.
And he didn't say anything about it either. Sometimes that works out, especially if you're a young player.
He did not. You're right. He could have, I mean, if he was a veteran, he may have gone.
Lawrence hit his spot at 97. He could touch 100 miles an hour.
Marsh walks. Stassi's up. He's doubled in 3 trips. The Yankees are one of the teams most reported to be interested in Trevor Story. Into right, Blackman, and he missed it. He flat out missed it. Racing for third is Iglesias. On his way home, throw to the plate, scores.
By the way, great base running too by Brandon Marsh. He's standing at third. Every once in a while when you hit that ball on the line like that, it gets caught in those bank of lights in right field as a right fielder. And Charlie Blackman was coming in on the baseball and he goes right in that bank of lights and he lost it. That's huge for the Halos to get that little add-on.
Did he lose it in the lights? Yes.
Yes.
You see his eyes?
And then I've talked to whether it was Tim Salmon or a number of right fielders, when you hit it not high up in the air, but on that line like that, you run to an area and hope it goes into your glove because you lose it.
Add-on run and another bullpen visit for the Rockies.
For 25 years,
nice throw.
Major League Baseball and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America
That's beautiful.
have teamed up to guide kids through the first tries.
It's all good, Aaron.
The curveballs.
There you go.
And the big dreams. Setting them up to make great plays. On and off the field. Celebrating 25 years of building brighter futures together.
Hey, Harold, how do you prepare for a big show?
Well, I just try to stay positive. Take it one show at a time and treat it just like any other show.
How do you feel about the other analysts you work with?
It's a great group of guys. We're all on the same page. I'm just happy to be here.
What's your prediction for the season?
We'll see what happens. It all comes down to execution in the studio.
The pro player answers. He's still got it.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions on MLB Network.
Mike Trout, people know he's one of the greatest players this game's ever seen.
Meet Mike Trout.
Can run.
He's watching MLB Network.
He's one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet.
Because that's what baseball fans do.
And he's also got tremendous show hair with his hat off.
Carlos, where did your signature term placata come from?
Placata is just an expression my brothers and I used when we were kids. It means good, solid contact, usually resulting in a home run.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions.
Rockies at 6:30, first 14,000 fans will get an all-star poster featuring Ohtani, Walsh, and Trout, presented by Nito Tire. For more, visit angels.com promotions. Just a good look at it. You even have Jared Walsh making a sliding catch.
Cool is that you have Shohei Ohtani on the mound, pick up W and swing at the bat. Like Trout too in that picture.
Zach Roscup is in. Now, if you've ever followed Joe Madden closely, you know wherever he's been, Tampa Bay, Chicago, and Los Angeles, here with the Angels, the first and third bunt, he loves this play. Would he do it here with a 3-run lead and Eaton at the plate? The Rockies infield think something might be up. They're in. Crone holding the runner at first. Good speed at third. And it was on.
Yes, it was.
And the way it's designed, as Brian Butterfield is directing traffic, is to get it down the first base line. Runner from third comes down.
What are you, Karnak there? You're calling that one.
I've seen enough of Joe Madden. He used to kill the Marlins with this in interleague play. He used to get everybody. Even if they know it's coming, he would still call it. I don't know if he'd call it twice in a row, though. No, swing it away.
As it was a runner down with a left-hander, you can get a little bit bigger lead, but as a left-handed pitcher, you have that option throwing the pitch way outside.
Yes.
And that's the thing. As a right-handed batter, it's a little bit different, but lefty, as soon as you hear he's going, you got to make sure you wait to go. Otherwise, the pitcher will throw this one way outside, and it's going to be an easy out at home.
Fouls it back. It's 1-2. I would have guaranteed you it was going to be on, and it was on, if they had not made a pitching change, because it's a great play to call after a big hit or a double or a triple where guys are running around before everybody can collect their thoughts.
And the game is sped up at that point.
Yes.
Yep.
1-2. This is kind of a typical night for Eaton. A couple ground balls, infield hit, scored a run, good at bats, sees a lot of pitches.
He battles you. And all with the infield in, your percentages of getting one of those ground balls through the infield with the infield in increase. Yeah, Tapia playing very shallow in left.
Infield's still in. They obviously, with Eaton from this side of the plate, they're not confident in getting a double play. Stassi at first. Marsh at third. Little pop down the line and foul. I'll tell you what. Marsh was tagging.
Yeah.
And he was ready to go.
If he slides and makes that play, which that would be the only play that Tapia's going to have, he's going to tag up and score on that one. It's one of those tough ones as an outfielder. You want to have that potentially give up another run here, where you just trust your pitcher to be able to make a quality pitch here. That's one of those tough calls. You always want the outs, but I think Marsh he's going to score on that one.
Eaton checks his swing. Did he go? No. That's Jerry Davis down at third.
And he held up on that one.
Full count. Runner from first on the move. And Eaton stays alive.
He battles. You mentioned that, Rich. He battles at that plate.
You know, Jeremy Reed today in our hitters conversation talked about Eaton And the one thing they did when he arrived is they pulled out the video from 2017 and 2019, his really good years, and they've used that as a template to kind of build back the confidence and build back the swing. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Oh no, did he get a piece? He got a piece.
Just trying to make contact. Just barely made contact.
Not a reviewable play. I don't know that he made contact, but not a reviewable play. 3-2. High into right. Remember, there's one out. Marsh is tagging. Blackman has it. Here comes Marsh. Here comes a throw. He is safe. Woo-hoo! Hair flowing. Helmet flying. Goslin is thrown out at second base. Trying to sneak out to second after the play at the plate. Goslin is out. Marsh will score. Eaton has a sacrifice fly.
That's speed. Speed of Brandon Marsh, the talent. That little intangible gets back on a short fly, showing that speed. Slides in there for the second run of the inning.
Hey Al, I'm just wondering, during the demo on MLB Tonight, what was that meatball you threw?
Meatball? I think you're misunderstanding. That was a hitting demonstration, and that's what I was supposed to do.
Oh, he go home, baby. Right. I think that ball is still traveling. Any farther, and you need a flight plan for it.
Next question.
The analyst of MLB Tonight, answering baseball's toughest questions. Only on MLB Network.
Shohei Ohtani threw the baseball. First bat of the game, Tapia. A nasty 82-mile-an-hour slider after a couple fastballs at 96-97 with a nasty slider. Then his last pitch of the night, pitch number 99, was 100 miles an hour for Shohei Ohtani. 7 great innings pitched again. No walks. That's 3 times this year he's gone out and pitched and not walked a batter. Just 1 walk in his last 20 innings pitched on the mound for Shohei Ohtani. Just dominant again.
Raisel Iglesias, who was not available yesterday. And the Angels were able to, with Steve Cishek and Tony Watson, and those added runs kind of took the pressure off of bringing Iglesias in, who had appeared in 3 straight in that Minnesota series. Connor Joe, Joshua Fuentes, and then Dom Nunez. This is bottom third of the Rockies order here in the top of the 9th inning. Angels, a lot of momentum coming out of Minnesota. Chance to start the homestand and this series with a win. Chance to climb over 500.
That's a nasty slider, too. We just showed Shohei Ohtani's slider. That is a nasty slider from Raisel Iglesias.
Quintana and Cishek got through the 8th. That's a check swing. That's a swing. And that's a punch out.
Another slider. run up a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Swing and miss. Iglesias. Foul tip hung on by Max Stassi.
One thing the Angels have done well this year, they have beaten the teams, pounded the teams that they should. And that's sometimes easier said than done. You think that's automatic, but there are teams that struggle against teams they should beat. The challenge, and it's all encompassed in this homestand. Beat the team you should in the Rockies and beat a team that's got a better record in Oakland. Whew, 99 with some tail on it, brought it right back in.
And a different arm angle too. He's got a couple different arm angles he could throw from.
And not only beat a team that you should, beat a team that you have beaten in interleague play. The Marlin-Oriole matchup is lopsided. Red Sox on that list as well.
And that's a changeup you almost got to chase with. The bottom line is you need your starting pitcher to set the tone, and that's what happened tonight with Shohei Ohtani. Doesn't, you know, the Rockies, they will battle you. They had a pretty good series up the block of on the I-5 up against the Dodgers. They battled them all the way, 3 close games.
It's a nice play. You can hear the crowd. That big one here, obviously, for the Ohtani start.
That is a frisbee slider.
That's a C-check type pitch. How many arm angles does Iglesias have?
That's why he's so effective in that role where he can get 5 or 6 outs out of the bullpen, because of different arm angles and 3 above average pitches he can go with.
Now Nunez, the home run was in the 5th. Rockies have 2 solo shots. Brendan Rodgers went deep. That one, strike, it's 0-1. Of course, the Angels got a 2-run shot from Jack Mayfield. And RBI hits in the 1st from Ohtani and Walsh. Stassi knocked in a run, and Eaton with a sacrifice fly. One and two down. Iglesias trying to put the finishing touch on this. And the 1-2. Got him. Ball game. Angels take the opener of this 3-game set and open the homestand on an Ohtani start with a very nice 6-2 win over the Rockies. Great starting pitching, timely hitting, little bit of power.
What do you think, Rich? Is that the captain and Ohtani show tonight?
I like it.
Shohei Ohtani, this dominant, pick up his 5th win. So many other players during the course of the game. Dominant Brandon Marsh, solid game. Nice defensive play at the wall to preserve the lead. Jack Mayfield 2-run home run. There were Iglesias bringing it, punching out the sides.
Big hits and great at-bats all through the lineup. I mean, start with Mayfield at the bottom. Eaton drove in a run. Stassi had a couple hits. Marsh doubled. Iglesias 2 hits. Walsh had 2 hits. Ohtani knocked in a run with a single. Joe Madden, this is the type of thing that he talked about coming out of the All-Star break. We need to be fueled by starting pitching. That's happening. We need to be able to create runs, and that's happening. And he forgot to mention, we need Jack Mayfield to go on a home run binge.
Yes, it's incredible. 4th home run of the season for the Halos, 3 in the last 5 games. for the captain.
And he is our Toyota player of the game, and he is with our Jose Mota. Jose?
Thanks, Rich. Well, what goes through the mind of a player that has a role as a backup and all of a sudden becomes an everyday contributor to his team's victories?
I'm just out here having fun, you know, trying to help the team any way I can. And these fans are amazing. I'm having a blast.
On the defensive side, how much credit do you give to your coaches and the things that are told to you and the work put in early in the afternoons for your success at third base especially?
Oh, absolutely. Butterfield and, you know, Bussy, all the guys, they get after it. And we put in that work before practice. And so, you know, we're prepared. And, you know, if we're prepared, you know, good things will happen. So I give credit to them for defense for sure.
You're the chance for the MVP in the American League. I mean, as a player, how much do you admire what Shohei Ohtani does on a daily basis on the mound every 5 or 6 days and also at home plate?
He's unbelievable. You know, we used to do that in high school, but that's about it. And, you know, I was wearing a Showtime shirt earlier, and I wanted to wear it under my jersey, but I don't like wearing an undershirt. But he's unbelievable, and, you know, I'm very lucky to be on the field with him.
Talk about very lucky. For you and your family, you've been through a lot in terms of moving around different cities, different stops, but because of that, do you ever feel like things are settling in or no?
I keep my mind the same way, you know. I keep grinding, keep having fun. Every day's a new day, so I know I got to put in the work, and, you know, nothing's going to be given, so I'm just having fun out here. And the main thing is we won the game, and we got to come back. You know, we need a lot of fans tomorrow, and let's do it again.
The power is there, has been there throughout. And what has been the key for you finding the power here the last week or so?
Just getting comfortable. And, you know, the staff and players have brought me in, and I'm just enjoying it. And we're all having fun. And, you know, the goal is to win games, and we're doing it right now, so we can't complain. We're having fun.
Continued success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
He gives credit to the fans, and rightfully so. But we also know it takes a whole team to go out here and get it done. Yes, Ken French, Gooby, Rich, we're all going to break it down. But Shohei Ohtani set the tone on the mound. They score early. Angels live. Yes, with the Angels adding those runs, very special. How did they do it? How was the bullpen? Stay tuned. You'll find out as we come back here right with you.